Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Oh, hi, Bryan Callen. How you doing, bro?
Hey, it's been a while.
Yeah, we're talking about stem cells. Yeah, huge believer.
Yeah.
Ways to well. I go to them in town. They fixed everything. Every time I have like an injury, I get stem cells on it. It's
How many times have you gotten stem
remarkable.
cells?
A gang of times.
Really?
Yeah, dozens.
And you swear by it?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Huh.
Yeah, everybody does. And all the elite athletes I know, all the jiu-jitsu guys, Gordon Ryan. Gordon Ryan had something wrong with his shoulder. He got shotted into his shoulder and it fixed his neck.
Really?
Yeah, he had a problem with his neck for over a year, and it went away after putting stem cells in his shoulder. They literally find where the injuries are,
Yeah.
and it gravitates towards them and it helps you heal.
That's wild.
Yeah, between that and BPC 157, which
What
is
is that?
body protecting compound 157, I think it's called. It's a peptide.
That's body protecting compound sounds like a complete marketing thing.
It does sound
This
so
is a body
fake.
protecting compound.
It's like human
inner
meat.
armor. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an exoskeleton. Just take it. Don't ask questions.
It's made out of spider skin.
Yeah. The problem is I don't know. Like I told you, I called you. I call you up and I'm like, dude, supplements work.
Duh.
You're like, hey, fucko. I've been saying that since I was 35.
Yeah, you fell into this. All you need is a good diet thing. Well, because they'll teach you that.
Well, I talked to doctors. When I did my podcast, I had
problem
guys who were like, no, I don't do it. People who worked at Harvard, I was like, do you take supplements? I don't. But then you look at them and you're like, well, but you're not, you don't do any sports.
You got to talk to a doctor that's jacked, like
need-
Huberman.
Yeah. Jack
Talk to
scientist.
that guy. Jack scientist.
Lane Norton.
Yeah,
Huberman,
Lane Norton.
Andy Galpin.
Andy Galpin.
Yep. Dan Garner, all those
Yeah,
guys.
scientists that are fit.
Yeah.
Talk to those guys.
Yeah.
They'll all tell you supplements are valuable.
Yes. Well, I had them look under my hood, that Rapid Health at
Mm-hmm.
Dan Garner, Andy Galpin. And then they just prescribed me just some stuff. Not a lot of stuff. Like, just like a multivitamin. CQ10.
Right.
Tonkat Ali brings your testosterone up a little bit.
you
I got
don't
a story
need
about
that.
this.
You don't need that.
I got a story about this. No, I don't need that, by the way. My testosterone was 700. But
That's good.
But my estrogen levels were at like 37.
You're a bitch.
I'm a bitch. No, this is good. So I have to make a speech at my friend's wedding. I don't know what's going on with me, but I'm getting a little. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm getting, for the first time in my life, a little soft around the old hips in the back,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all right, I'm getting older, but
diet.
this can't be. This can't be.
That's
But
just diet.
No.
No,
Hold.
it's not?
Oh, there's a twist.
Okay.
Then I'm with my wife and I'm crying over shit I see in a scene in a rom-com or a fucking commercial. And I'm not kidding. I'm dead behind the eyes. You've known me a long time. I'm not a very emotional. I'm certainly not going to share my emotions with you, but I'm bursting into tears.
At a commercial?
Now hold, please. Yeah.
An
Now
antidepressant commercial.
I got to make a speech at my boy Tarek's wedding. And
You're all emotional.
Oh.
Well, that's probably part of why you were emotional. Your friend was getting married.
I get emotional at weddings. I'll
do
admit
too.
that. Okay, I love it. And my friend's getting married. His mother's an Afghan refugee. I know she went through a lot of stuff. So it's an emotional time. But I'm there to be funny and make a speech. That's what I'm there for. It's a festive moment. I couldn't get through the speech, sir.
You were crying?
In the middle of it, I started crying so hard. I started crying that I couldn't finish the speech. And I couldn't get it together.
Oh
So
my
I thought
God.
something's wrong. Well,
Why is it
I was taking
that men
I know.
have to think that? Oh, you're taking Propecia.
I was taking Propecia.
Yeah,
And
that's
I was
not good.
taking Propecia, and it was raising my estrogen levels, and it was binding my testosterone up.
There's topical stuff that you can use to keep whatever
Hey,
fucking chemotherapy hair you have
bro,
left
listen,
on the top of your
listen,
head.
Bro, I'm going bald. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to be bursting into tears.
Good for you.
Right?
Listen, man, I love being bald. I really
Yeah.
do. If I
easy.
could grow a full head of hair, I would 100% shave my head.
You would?
I'd let it grow stubbly.
Yeah.
But then I'd shave it again. It stops you from having to have any uncomfortable conversations with barbers. Oh my God.
Just
You
take
get
a little off
stuck.
here.
Well, sometimes they'll tell you a story and then they're holding the scissors. And then I told that motherfucker, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Please cut my hair.
Yeah.
Don't just fucking kidnap me and
And gossip
hijack
with me?
and force me to listen to this story that has no ending about someone who disrespected you at work. Like, oh no.
Do you know what I have?
can't do
I have a
this.
weird thing where if you clip scissors near my ear, I start getting a tickly sensation in my back, and I start to twitch.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
From
really
when you were a
very
kid, maybe, or something?
I don't know. It's just it's a nerve thing. I start to feel like
Interesting.
it's like when somebody blows in your ears and you're like, "Ee!" like that.
I haven't had a haircut in like 12 years.
Yeah.
I just go.
Yeah.
I keep one here too. Like if I need a little touch up, I just fucking.
Yeah. I cut my own hair.
Oh, yeah, looks like it.
I know.
Do you have a flow bee?
Somebody took a picture of me. Somebody took a picture of me. I was with my kid, and they took a picture of my profile, and literally on the plane on the way here. And I looked at my profile, and I texted my wife. I go, listen, I know I'm very ugly, just so you know. I don't know how you went from. She dated like a black professional athlete. I was like, you went from chocolate and jacked to medium, narrow, gray, and wrinkled, and I don't get it. It was just.
Stop thinking about yourself.
I know.
That's the problem. Think about life.
No,
Don't be thinking about
you
yourself.
got to be nice to yourself,
Sure.
and I'm not good at that.
Oh, okay.
But you got to learn how to talk. You got to learn how to tell it. Be truthful all the way across the board, but with yourself, and then be nice to yourself, man.
It's one of the reasons why I work out so hard. Because when I work out really hard, I have respect for myself.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
If you force yourself to do something, for that day, I know I'm not a lazy piece of shit. For that day, I know I'm focused. For that day, when I'm done, I'm like, I know who I am. I get shit done.
That's exactly
Yeah.
my philosophy on all that sort of self-restraint and discipline is that every time you do something like that, it's a victory.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you don't do it, it's a defeat. And in my opinion, you get weaker. It's not about getting your body stronger and, we're all flesh and blood. You can take me out with fucking, a knife.
Yeah.
It's more about the fact that no matter what's going on in my life, I show up.
I think mental resilience is like cardiovascular fitness. I think you have to work on it all the time.
100, and it never ends.
And I think that's the same with comedy. I know that's the same with archery. I know that's the same with playing pool. I know that's the same with jiu-jitsu. It's one of those things where these are all perishable skills, and I think mental resilience is a perishable skill.
It is, and it's perishable minute by minute.
Yes.
And you can never let off. It's like, you get to a point in your life where maybe you have a bunch of goals and you scratch them off. In some ways, the most lost I was at 50. I think I'd kind of like, I drew a line through a lot of the things I came to LA to do. And what I realized was that I'm not made to just. You need a challenge, but more importantly, I think there's something that you gain from the idea that anything that happens to you, I don't care, especially bad things, especially discomfort, especially something new, especially something that's painful or creates anxiety or just the unknown. I think that is. All of those things can truly be looked at as good. And the reason they should be looked at as good is, and more, in fact, better for you than the good things that happen a lot of times, is a very simple reason. It's if you take the perspective that it is, you can call it God, the universe, I don't care what you call it. It is the order of things. Instead of looking at what you can get from the universe, try to look at it as what the universe is trying to get from you. So anything you go through that's difficult, that's very uncomfortable, is there to make you grow. There are hidden gifts in that great unknown, in that chaos. And if you embrace it properly, you will come out the other side proud of yourself, much stronger, and with deeper understanding. Maybe more empathy at the end of the day for everything.
Yeah, it's that old expression, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
For real.
For real.
Yeah.
It really does work that way.
Yeah.
It's just like lifting weights. Like, why do you get stronger? You get stronger because you're forcing your body to go through something very difficult.
Mm-hmm. But do you ever have this, like with stand-up, I'm over it now. And I'm
You went
really
to a
happy
writer's
with
block.
it. Bro, I was there for 6 months.
You don't smoke enough weed.
I started taking mushrooms.
Yeah, you don't smoke enough weed.
I think mushrooms,
It's steroids for comedy.
Mushrooms are weed.
100%, both of them.
Oh, dude.
Mushrooms make me so much nicer and so much more connected to my material. Like when I do stand up on mushrooms,
Yeah.
I am just like so locked into what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm never like press and play. I'm like really into what I'm saying. I'm really thinking about what I'm saying.
I did acid for the first time.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was that was very interesting. And then I had a 45-minute set. I was closing out the show in Venice, and I was still very much in the mix of what was going on with me. And I remember saying to my buddy Kaj, I go, dude, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I actually don't know how I'm going to do it. And then I saw they had a picture of me from like 10 years ago, and I don't know how I did it, but I started giving my younger self advice on stage, and it worked. I was just improvising, and it worked. It was one of the best sets I've ever had in my life, and I'm not kidding.
Isn't that weird? Because you don't want to try to repeat that.
No.
You don't want to you want to do acid every time you do stand up.
I wouldn't mind trying though.
You will go so far gone. You'll be gone.
Yeah, you can't.
But you could.
I was coming. I was on the tail end of it.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the best time.
That's
right?
the perfect time for weed too. Like when you have an edible, like right when you're not scared of everything anymore. When it wears off, you're like, oh my god, I can't wait to get on stage.
Yeah,
and just be free.
Yeah. That stand up keeps you honest.
100%.
And I never want to be because what I was trying to avoid was I said I don't want to repeat myself. I don't want to be obsessed with the same questions that I'm always obsessed with, which is really my questions are always, what is masculinity? What's the difference between a coward and a hero? I've always been obsessed
all your questions?
Those are my questions have always been something in that area. Because I internalized, I think, a warped sense of what masculinity is.
Interesting.
And so it's an interesting battle for me. But now, you have kids, and like you said, you can't think about yourself. You get older and you're just more in a position of service, but that forces you to contend with larger questions. I think a lot about God, which is...
Are you becoming a Christian?
I am not becoming a Christian.
A lot of people do. I know a lot of very intelligent people later in life who embraced religious beliefs, whether it's Islam or Christianity, and they felt like it gave them structure that they didn't have before. And even if they didn't believe that... Here's the problem. If God did at one point in time communicate to his disciples, there was no written language at the time. And as time went on, when they started writing things down, they wrote things down in languages that we don't use anymore. We don't use ancient Hebrew anymore, at least we don't. But ancient Hebrew is a fucking super complicated language where the letters double as numbers.
Yeah.
So there's numerical value to all the words. So we lost all that in the translation to Latin, to Greek, to English. Like there's so much confusion as to what the original meaning of the word was. I'm sure you've read a tweet before that was in Russian, and then you press the translate button, and then it gives you this broken English version of what they're trying to say.
Right.
Well, without the context of their language, understand how they use grammar, it's very confusing when you're translating things. And then you have these ancient ways of describing things. Right, where it's so hard to understand what their point of reference was. Like the way they were describing things it's very different the way they say things than we do. So that's open to interpretation. And then on top of that, you clearly have the work of man. So if this was an enlightened encounter with some divine being that gave forth incredible wisdom to people, along with it there's some fuckery got added.
Yes.
And so the question is how much fuckery? Because it's not zero. There's never been never ever been a person in a position of power over a kingdom that didn't lie.
Yeah.
That didn't manipulate, that didn't control the masses, if they were in control of whatever the religious documents were, for sure there's some fuckery. There had to be
I
some
don't
fuckery.
concern myself with those details.
No?
No. I think it almost misses the entire point. So what I'm interested in is the idea, you can get into, it's funny, I went to Israel for 10 days, right? I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I was excited to talk to you about it on the show.
We'll talk about it. And then I went to Jordan, remind me to tell you that. But what I'm interested in, what gets me thinking is it's very hard for me to wrap my head around the idea. I'm a Christian. I believe that Jesus rose. That's very hard for me. I just can't accept. That's not how I.
You can't accept the resurrection.
I can't.
See, that's one of those.
But that's okay.
What did they mean by that?
But I will say this. I find it very, very intriguing and interesting that let's take Jesus Christ and Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in the world at the time, and let's just take any sort of reincarnation of that guy, just Jeff Bezos or whoever it might be. You've got the world at your fingertips. Even someone like Joe Rogan, everybody loves you. Everything is free. It is what it is. You've reached the top of the mountain, and so let's take Julius Caesar. All the power in the world, commanded armies, ran everything, and anyone would be seduced by that prospect. It'd be pretty cool to be at the top of the mountain. Yet somehow there's a guy who was a radical rabbi, which just really means teacher, a first century Jew who at the prime of his life is killed, tortured, put up on a cross, and despite him being quote unquote God or very close to divinely inspired, he gets tortured and put on a cross. So there's you die with nothing. And oh, by the way, couple of crazy notions: love your enemy, walk as a humble person, sell all your possessions, give the money to the poor, all these things. And you in your body, there's something higher. So your appetites, this physical frame should be subservient to a higher ideal. And I'm going to prove it by being on a cross. And what's the last thing I'm going to say? Something to the effect of, I love you and I forgive you. Not a great way, not a good ending, by the way. Not a way if you want to get successful, but yet we revere that person. Somehow, all of us, atheists, Christians, whoever it is, somehow nostalgically or in our imagination know that the way he walked that path, even if it ends in total ruin, that path somehow has more power. Somehow it lasts longer. Somehow it has more meaning. Even if we try to emulate it to a lesser degree, somehow it makes us feel, somehow there seems to be something, it seems to dovetail with the laws of the universe. It seems to dovetail with something we would call the truth, something we'd call beauty, something we'd call inspiration. That's what I'm interested in. We don't talk about Julius Caesar or anybody who accomplishes crazy things the way we talk about people like Mohandas K. Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, people that were emulating this idea, the idea of passive resistance, the idea of turning the other cheek, and then a guy like Christ, the Buddha. I find that interesting. I find it very interesting that human beings seem to resonate when they think about it. I always say my best version of myself is clearing his throat in the other room. You and I call it the pesky truth. Like I gotta get this shit done over here. I know the right way. I know what I should be doing. I know the way I should be behaving. And I find it very interesting that if you were to just accept that the laws that are laid down in this scripture, let's say the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Quran, the Abrahamic religions, I'm just going to talk about that for a second. There's a lot of self-restriction in that. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of prudence in that. There's a lot of, it ain't that much fun. You can't be promiscuous.
Look at a guy like Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know how to fuck his last name up.
Nurmagomedov, yeah.
Khabib Nurmagomedov is arguably the greatest fighter of all time. He's definitely in the argument. I mean, the guy lost like 2 rounds ever in his whole career. Mm-hmm. He is devoutly religious. Mm-hmm. I mean, 5 times a day there's a call to prayer. They don't fuck around. Yeah. During Ramadan, there's no eating, no drinking, no nothing during the day. The training is all like brutal and Spartan. Yeah. And
he takes no credit. What does he do all the time? He goes,
he's super humble. That. Yes, always. He's super humble, and he's admirable. Right? Like you see a man like that, that's a man of character.
Yes.
That's a man of distinction.
Yes.
That's a champion.
Yes. I'd rather fight an atheist than a man coming to me singing the fucking Psalms.
Yeah.
Right? You remember when Evander Holyfield was singing the Psalms when he stepped in with the unbeatable Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Well, he had the Holy Ghost, the Father and the Son and himself. That's 4 people that Tyson was fighting that day.
And just pure belief in himself.
Yes. Yeah. But more in belief in something higher than himself.
Yeah.
That's what I think that we are in deep trouble if we don't have a transcendent truth we believe in. That's where I disagree with Sam Harris. because Sam is a very smart guy, and I think is a very I love listening to him, and I agree with a lot what he says. But I think Sam makes the argument that if you look at nature, the golden rule: treat your neighbor as you would treat treat your neighbor as you treat yourself, or whatever, treat others, is can now almost be proven in nature. It's a better way to walk. I don't think that's enough. I think you need to feel like somebody.
That's a hard sell when you look at regular nature, when you watch animals tearing each other apart.
I know it is. I know it is.
Survival of the fittest is the clearest. If there's like some sort of a mandate for the world, it's survival of the fittest. And then whatever those things are, have to figure out how to get more fit because their prey is getting more fit.
Yes.
It's just this constant horrific cycle of eating things.
That's why Healy's saying if you're a gazelle and you wake up, run fast. If you're a lion and you wake up, run fast.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine once. He's like, you always talk about nature like it's this horrible thing, but you go into nature, it's beautiful. I go, yeah, that's because they're digesting. They're digesting everything they just fucking mauled and tore to pieces in front of its mother.
Correct.
What are you talking about, man? Have you ever been? Like, what do? You go hiking? You think you know nature? Like, listen, bitch, I stared a mountain lion in the eyes. They're terrifying.
It's a war. They're
terrifying. War. I made eye contact with a grizzly bear from like 50 yards away and almost shit my pants. It wasn't even a big one.
Dude.
It was like a 6-foot grizzly bear. They look at you so different than any other bear. Because I've only been around, I've been around grizzly bears like at the zoo and shit like that, but that's a different animal.
In the wild.
When you see them in the wild, they look through you. They look at you like this. So like a regular bear, like a black bear, they look at you like, who are you?
Yeah.
What's going on here? They kind of side-eye you because they're not the king of the forest.
No.
So as they wander around, they're always terrified that a grizzly's going to show up. So they look at you like, oh. They're not, unless it's a big black bear. A big black bear could be a real problem because they tend to, when they attack people,
they're predatory.
They tend to do it predatorily.
Yes.
Whereas grizzlies oftentimes...
Get off my land. My kids are here.
Yeah, the kids are there, or you fucked up and you scared them. If there's a distance where they're inside that distance, it's very dangerous.
Here's my thing. There are two animals I don't want to get eaten by or messed up by. A chimp, because they just start pulling shit off because they're spiteful.
Yeah.
And then a bear. Because
a cat.
No, I'll take a cat.
You're out of your mind.
No, listen to me. No problem. Let me tell you why.
What?
They grab you by the back of your neck and you go bye-bye. They just bite you.
You just want to go bye-bye?
Yeah, I want to. Yes, I do,
fight
sir.
out of it?
I sure don't, because I ain't winning.
But sometimes people survive. There's been a bunch of dudes that survived getting grizzly bear fucked up, and they just have like faces.
Yeah, but sometimes they eat you ass first. The problem is they start eating your legs.
If they start eating you,
that's a problem.
If they eat you, it's a problem.
Yeah. And it's 1,100-pound angry dog.
That's the grizzly man story. Apparently, it took like a half an hour for him to kill him.
That's right. And what's his name? Werner Herzog is listening. He's like, whatever you do, don't listen. I'm just begging you not to listen.
Burn this tape.
Yeah, I'd have to.
It's the best unintentional comedy that's ever been made.
I agree 100%.
It's an amazing documentary.
It's a comedy.
It's a comedy.
Yeah.
When that sheriff looks right at the camera and goes, I thought he was retarded. Like, come on, this is a comedy. And there's a smash cut after that. Yeah. Like, Werner Herzog's a genius. Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
He does.
He knows what he's doing.
100%.
Man. Because there is some beauty in the story, and there is some tragedy in the story, and there's like this weird human element where this clearly gay guy who's in the closet is out wandering around in the woods pretending he's protecting grizzly bears. It's fucking amazing. But he had amazing encounters. Like, he had an incredible friendship with this little fox who was, like, hanging out with him. Like, foxes, like, when you camp in a place for a long period of time and they realize you're not dangerous, they just become your friend.
Really? They hang out?
Yeah, man. They hang out. The fox was hanging out with this dude. The fox stole his hat. They were playing. The fox stole his hat and dragged it into his den.
Wow.
And he's laughing with the fox and chasing after him. Give me my hat. Give me my hat back. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I remember
man.
I was in Alaska and a guy had a female wolf. And I said he found it. I don't know what happened, but he adopted it. And that female wolf, first of all, he said, if you have a wolf, you're not going to the store and leaving the wolf. That's not how it works.
Right.
The wolf is always with you. That's how it is. It's not like, I'll be home in 8 hours. No. That's a wolf, bro. They're going to break out of that. Whatever they're going to do, you're part of their pack and you're not going anywhere. And it was so smart that he would bring it hunting. And it figured out that he only killed does. And so it would point the way a pointer does. It would literally point whenever it smelled a doe and not when it smelled a stag.
Whoa.
Yes. And then I said, well, what about a male wolf? And he said, no.
Where was this?
In Alaska. I was in Ketchikan, and he said I was fishing, and I didn't see the wolf, but
Was she spayed?
I don't know.
Imagine if she's in heat and she puts out that
Yeah.
scent and then the males come around.
That'd be an issue. But the males, I said, would you ever have a male? And he said, you'd never have a male. I said, why? He goes, because it would always be challenging you. It would always, they're pack animals.
Yeah.
And it would always be, you guys would always be in a situation and you'd end up getting fucked up.
Oof.
Yeah. That's 150 pound.
There's a lot of people that have wolf dogs. They're
Yeah,
like
bad
7,
idea.
8 Timberwolf. Yeah, they're so sketchy. They kill everything.
They kill kids. And the reason they kill kids is because they have their pack, the pack hierarchy is incredibly present in their DNA. So what happens is if you have a child in that house, when you leave, that dog, that wolf considers that child to be lower. It's going to challenge. So they had too many times where hybrid wolves, I'm sure people are, I have hybrid wolves and they're the nicest dogs. No, you don't. They're great dogs, but a lot of people actually testified at these because at the lawsuits and things, because those dogs, they're wolves and they look at children as being below them on the pack. So there's always a chance they're going to take that competitor out. Oof. Yeah. It's no joke. So no hybrids, bro.
Yeah, I had a friend who had one, and it got out. He was living on a ranch. It got out and killed 8 of the neighbor's sheep. Just went on a slaughter fest.
Doing wolf shit.
Just doing wolf shit.
Yeah.
Just killed them all.
Yeah.
Just figured
Didn't
out.
even eat some of them, right? Just
No,
killed them.
didn't eat them at all.
Yeah.
Just found out that they were contained in this little fenced-in area. Like, oh, that fence is 4 feet high. Boink. Just jumped over that fence like it was nothing.
Yeah.
You ever see a coyote jump a fence?
Yeah.
They're so graceful.
I know.
I saw a
They look like
coyote
deer.
jump over my back fence with one of my chickens in his mouth.
Dude, I've been to that. I know exactly what fence you're talking
like
about.
Nothing.
That's a 7-foot
Well,
fence.
6 feet.
Yeah.
He went up to the top like it was nothing. Toes on the top. Boing.
God.
Like a gymnast.
With a chicken in its
With
mouth.
a chicken in his mouth. Yeah. What's a chicken weigh? Like 5 pounds?
100 pounds, dude. I don't know biology, but I think it's about 100 pounds.
What's a chicken weigh? What is like a female chicken weigh? Like about that big? They feel like
3
they're
pounds.
about 5 pounds, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
This motherfucker just, with it in his mouth, just bound over that fence like it was non-existent.
Crazy.
And I was like under the illusion that those fences were keeping these cocksuckers out.
Yeah, of course. Well, 6 feet. And it had spikes on it. I saw it.
Bro, he went over it like it was not. He got his feet on the bars. He just sprang up. Like, watch this guy.
Yeah,
Look at that. That
look
is
at
insane.
Just fast
Onto
twitch
the
muscle.
roof. Look how insane that is. That's a skinny ass fucking picket fence. He lands on the
No
top
dog
of
would
it.
do that.
No dog.
Maybe a Belgian Malinois.
Yeah, maybe a Belgian Malinois. They would do it easy.
Bro, this guy, Mike Ritlin, you know who he is?
No.
He was a SEAL. He trains Malinois. I had a 65-pound Malinois. He's in Dallas. Shout out to Mike. And he...
Did you put the bite suit on?
I did. Put the bite suit on. And then he had the dog in the car, and the handler had the dog by the leash. And so he said, just walk up to the car and just be kind of aggressive. 65-pound dog, skinny, little dog. You'd look at it and be like, whatever. And I start going, and then I just stick my arm in, and the thing grabs onto me. And my buddy Nick, who's a bodybuilder, crazy strong, he did the same thing. The pressure. Have you ever done it?
No.
It'll give you a new respect. It'll give you a new respect for the power of an animal. The pressure through the sleeve was so disconcerting, and I knew because I already done it in Afghanistan. I did the USO. Yeah, bro, come on. I did the USO tour, so we had dogs, these giant Dutch Shepherds loose on us. But this 65-pound dog was doing it because it hated me. It's one thing when it's a game of tug of war and it's prey drive. This thing had fight drive. This thing was like, I hate your guts. I'm going to try to kill you. His eyes just went, those grizzly bear eyes. And my buddy, Nick, got depressed. I said, you all right? He goes, no, I'm a little bit depressed. I said, why? He goes, because I've never felt that kind of pressure on my arm, and I'm a really strong guy, but I said, oh, yeah. And Matt, who's a SEAL, he goes, your body shuts down. When you get bit like that by a dog like that, even a 65-pound dog, a lot of times what happens is the nerves get crushed. So you can't use that arm. You're in big trouble. So even if you're on PCP, you just shut down.
Those guys that get attacked by dogs, like when they sick dogs on them, those guys are never the same again.
No.
When they grab their arms, that arm is fucked forever.
Correct. You can't do that. That's why Rottweilers I heard they don't use rots anymore because they were harder to recall, and their mouths are so big and they bite so hard that it causes permanent damage, and the cops were getting sued. So let's use a Malinois. Bite really hard, but you can call them off faster. You know, they might bite less with their back teeth, blah, blah, blah. Although they inhale you. They fucking inhale you. Oof. Now hold, please. That is a dog. Now let's go with a Nile crocodile or a grizzly bear or any of those things. Enjoy that shit. Why are we talking about animals?
I was
Here we
watching
go.
a video today of a crocodile swimming with a guy in its mouth.
I've seen that. I watch it once a week.
There's people on the bridge.
Yeah.
And I don't know what language they're speaking, but they're pointing down to this poor fuck getting dragged by a crocodile.
Terrifies me. Well, you had that guy on the Amazon. He's talking about black
Paul
caimans.
Rosalie. Yeah.
Love that podcast. But
I did not know black caimans got to 16 feet long.
Well, my buddy, he was a Green Beret, and he was the last Green Beret to do jungle training, I guess, in Brazil. They had this joint task force with the Brazilian Special Forces. Yeah. So there
Here's
you go.
the dude swimming with the body in his mouth.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's not a good time.
That's so dark.
Yeah, that's really dark.
Oh, by the way, this is not the same video. The one I watched, it was a different one. But
Notice
it was
his
another
other arm.
crocodile.
His arm is off. He doesn't have an arm or a foot. See that?
Yeah.
That's so insane.
Bro.
But
is this Costa Rica? Where is this?
It was Australia, but
Australia?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So
These Green Berets are with the Brazilian Special Forces, and in the middle of the night they go, get in the water. You guys are going to swim 2 miles. And then they were shining a spotlight on the banks of the river, and you could just see these eyes. They're like, don't swim to the bank, don't swim to the bank. But it was all these guys. So it was a big group of guys swimming, and they had to get to a point. They get to the rock, and one guy just wasn't there. And they had a moment of silence, and that was the end of that. And they got back in the boats, and that was their night. Guy was taken by a black caiman, they think. Just disappeared, just that quickly. Just shoot, see you later. You can't do that. You can't be swimming in water when there are 18-foot black caimans. Come on.
Why did they make them do that?
Well, because
That doesn't seem wise.
if you're a special forces guy, what is that?
Look at all of them out there.
Yeah, what are they all out there for?
I have no idea. This guy opened his tent, and they were all just there. I mean, he probably knew where he was, I would hope.
Maybe
He's
he
laughing.
just camped out.
That's not good, bro.
Those are alligators.
Yeah.
So, whoa. Can you back that up a little?
all the
Were
ones
those eyes
it.
behind it?
Yep.
Look at all the eyes.
Well, that's a nightmare.
Insane. That is so insane.
You go out to take a piss, and you just get rolled.
That must be like a place where they all beach to dry off or something.
I don't know. Back to God. That's hell right there.
That is hell.
Yeah.
Hell on earth is.
Do you think about like spirituality or God?
I try not to because it's annoying. I definitely don't bring it up.
Yeah.
I've
But
been
you've had
thinking
a lot of people on who
been
talk
thinking
about
a lot about spirituality.
Yeah.
You know.
The follow-up video. This was in Brazil.
Oh,
where
wow.
They did attack his tent a little bit.
So are those black caimans
Yeah, those are
as
black
well?
caiman.
Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah.
Homeboy just decided to camp out where they nest.
Yeah, you do that in Australia, and they come into your tent. So
Yeah.
don't do that.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many interesting things on this earth in terms of life forms and how they interact with the other life forms. Some of them eat them with their face.
God, I know.
Big, giant life forms
I
that
know.
have existed in that same exact shape for how many millions of years have crocodiles been around? Let's guess. 100?
I mean, they're dinosaurs.
Yeah, I mean they're giant reptiles, right? Like
Yeah.
what is the number?
I don't know.
I'm going to say 100 million years. They probably predate the dinosaurs, don't they?
I don't know.
Or coexisted with the
I
dinosaurs.
would imagine a version of them.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what life was like 65 million years ago. It was just that everywhere. Very few mammals.
I think what you're supposed to do, say you're on an island and you have to get to safety, because there was that story about the guys who got stranded on an island.
240 million years ago. They first appeared 240 million years ago. It was the Mesozoic era in the time of the dinosaurs, while others have evolved into different shapes and forms. The crocs stuck. The crocs have stuck to this. They fucked it up. The Crocs have stuck to the same structure for the last 200 million years.
That's not in the Bible, dude. So I don't know.
See, that's the problem, right? That's the problem.
Well, that's my problem. For me, it's about metaphor,
Right.
right? Like there are too many contradictions. That's why I don't get hung up on the details. I'm just more interested in the overall arching idea that I do think there is something called truth, and I think there's something called a lie. I think there's something called a good way to live and a bad way to live. And I think if you extrapolate in either direction, one leads to something like fulfillment or who you're supposed to be, and then the other leads to who you're not supposed to be. That's what I
What do you think
obsess
is
about.
the source of it? What do you like? Where did the Bible come from? Did it come from man's inherent understanding of his connection with God, and they wrote things down, then eventually became stories, or were there real experiences that were divine?
I'll answer it this way. I think that anytime you go through any kind of loss or destruction or hardship, you have a better chance at seeing something you wouldn't if you came from nothing but comfort, safety, and something like the Garden of Eden.
Right.
So I think that I don't think anybody escapes suffering. I don't think anybody escapes some kind of ruin, some kind of loss, some kind of even age. You start to lose all the things you're proud of. And I think having to contend with that maybe and trying to derive meaning from that, because if you don't have that...
But
then,
hang on. So that's a person.
Yeah.
That's not God. Right? So it's a person's experience with misery in life and reality led to the creation of the Bible?
I think I'm just talking about the idea that there are things that human beings are capable of. For example, conceiving of something that doesn't have any material relevance in the world, but that later on does. So let me give you an example. There are mathematicians that devote their entire life to a theorem. It's 350 pages long. They're 80 years old. 6 people in the world understand what it's about, and they end up dying. And in 150 years later, somebody's trying to put a rover on Mars, and they go, you know what? This equation actually is what I've been looking for and what we need to do such and such and such and such. So all of a sudden, it bears material reality. And I think that's an example of maybe something that is grounded in the human mind that doesn't have to have its roots in experience, doesn't have to have its roots in what you can touch and what you can measure, but rather what you can imagine. That's interesting to me. That's the difference between a human being, say, and ChatGPT or artificial intelligence. The idea that artificial intelligence is working on a model that already exists. It's sourcing from everything that's already been. Something like the theory of relativity, or something like a theoretical math theorem, or for that matter, even something that's really beautiful. I don't know what it would be, like the Sistine Chapel, right? That brings us to our knees because it surprises us, it shocks us. It goes beyond what we thought was possible. That I think is what's endlessly fascinating. And then I would say to you, why? What is it about the human brain that we have a mind that can actually conceive of something like that and wants to? What is it about our mind that seems to have limitless potential for understanding and for creativity? To what end? To what end? It's not just comfort. It's not just, so I can have more food and I can watch more stuff. Anybody who's had all that, sensation doesn't do the trick, man. You can follow all the sensation you want.
There also seems to be something with creating something as undeniably amazing and beautiful like St. Peter's Basilica, where when you walk in there, it's so overwhelmingly beautiful that everyone gasps.
Yes.
And all these people are looking around. And isn't that, in a sense, doesn't that mimic the divine force of creation in the universe, right? Like,
yeah, you know what it does?
Human beings and their creativity and their mind and their effort to express that have created this awe-inspiring thing of beauty.
And you know what Schopenhauer and Nietzsche said about that? That is called when you see great art like that, when you do great art, anything like that, when you say I had a feeling of awe, what you're really saying is I forgot I was human for a second. Or an hour or whatever, meaning you forget you have to go to the bathroom, you have to have sex, you have to eat, you have to make money. Something about that arrested development, that sort of in high relief, you kind of go, you're awed by something that is possible. There's this, it's like a majesty. It's like this thing where you just go, how do you not believe in God when I have this feeling, this feeling of inspiration, maybe, and so God, again, let's be careful with that. I don't like to. I don't say Jesus. I'm just saying something bigger than myself.
Overwhelming power of the universe.
There might be a point. There might be a point to this. There might be something about like those two different ideas of power. There's power that makes me bow my head, I'm afraid of you, okay, which Pol Pot or Mao Zedong or Stalin had. And then there's the kind of power that Michael Jordan has, where I look up and I want to be like you. And it's the same idea. So you see somebody who seems to do what you didn't think was possible. You watch Jordan in his prime. You watch an amazing musician do something on a guitar like Jeff Beck and create a sound you hadn't heard, or the Sistine Chapel, or whatever it might be. And you just go, how did you do that, man? How the fuck did you do that?
And then there's a similar feeling that you get when you see mountains. Like if you are on a ridge and you're looking out and you're seeing these snow-capped mountains and a creek running through it and deer walking by, you're like, holy shit, is this beautiful?
Yes.
It's beautiful. And what is that thing about people? The recognition of beauty. Like, are we the only animal that recognizes beauty? Because we don't just recognize it, we value it so highly.
Yeah.
Whether it's a beautiful landscape or a beautiful car or a beautiful woman, a beautiful house. There's something about the way things look that to us is just awe-inspiring. And it
well, there's a whole body of, romantic body of, true a body of thought that says that beauty and truth are almost the same thing. You know how the Greeks define beauty? It's a beautiful way of doing it. In one word, harmony. And if you watch a cheetah run, that's what you're watching. If you watch even Symmetry on a human body, you watch somebody in slow motion doing what they do really well, a great boxer. You watch like Crawford or someone. There's something about where they place their feet, how they move their body. And you just go, well, even the way a great athlete is built is a thing of beauty.
Sure, like martial arts, it really is an art form. Because when someone pulls it off in an amazing way, it is beautiful. It really is. There's no denying it.
Also, what
like
it takes
when Justin
to do it.
Gaethje head kicked Dustin Poirier this weekend.
I know.
That was a thing of beauty.
I know.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Were you there for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Did you hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
It's the perfect kick.
Yep.
Amazing.
One
to
little
land that
detail.
on Dustin Poirier like that and KO him, amazing.
I had on Fighter and the Kid yesterday, we had Jorge Masvidal, who I love.
I love that dude.
He's the best. And Jorge was, Dustin's his boy. So Jorge was, he's at the fight. He's like, he kept watching every time Dustin would kick low, Justin was kind of dipping his head. So Jorge's, and right at the start of the second round, he's like, head kick, Dustin, head kick, head, oh, fuck, no, I didn't say Justin, Dustin. And he just called him. And it was just because he had his hand here.
Yeah, it wrapped around his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
kick.
I don't know if you've heard the rumor, but Masvidal looked at Brendan yesterday on Fighter and Kid and said, hey, man, you could always step in the old cage again.
Oh, boy.
And, but the numbers, there's some numbers thrown around there. And I was like, I heard those numbers and I kind of went, hey, he's in. And Brendan was like, hey, what the fuck are you talking about? I go, shut the fuck up, dude. And I was like, maybe I'll do it. It's some numbers.
Yeah. Brendan does not need to get hit in the head anymore.
Hey, wrestle him.
I thought you were his friend.
Wrestle him.
But if you can.
He was throwing Derek Lewis out there with no gloves.
Good Lord.
But wait, hold on. Just hear me out.
Do you want to die?
Sir, hear me out.
What?
I'm just talking about just shoot a blast double.
Shut the fuck up.
Take him to the ground, and then we got that.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
I'm just talking.
Derek Lewis puts people in neighboring dimensions. He hits you so fucking hard, you just cease to exist in this plane.
So terrifying.
When he knocked out Curtis Blades with that uppercut, Curtis
God.
Blades is a big man.
Yes,
He's
I've seen him train.
Big man.
Monster.
And when Derek landed an uppercut and just flatlined him, he just face planted. I'm like, good Lord.
What is that? What is that power? Like they've never
It's
been
the
able
best
to...
power in the history of the sport.
He does?
Yes. Derek Lewis has
More
the most
than-
knockout. Like, statistically, he has the most knockouts.
More than Ngannou?
We has 14 now, I believe.
Yeah, and
because he just knocked out Rogerio de Lima. He's a fucking monster, man.
All I'm
when,
saying.
When Derek starts swinging bombs at you, man,
Yeah.
the power that guy generates is so crazy. Even Ngannou didn't engage with him. That was the most boring fight of all time.
Oh, God, no, stop, stop,
watch
stop.
this again. Watch that
no.
uppercut again. Watch how he lands it.
He's so
It's so...
unbelievable.
Look at this.
Oh.
Boom.
Okay.
I mean, he's out. He's out
great. Yeah.
long before that. I mean, he's out before he hits the ground.
Oh, that's awful.
Derek's the number one knockout puncher in the history of the sport. He has more knockouts than anybody in any division in all the sport.
Yeah,
he
would
fucks
do
everybody
that.
up,
He would
dude.
do that. That would be bad. Okay.
Dude, you don't want to get hit once by Derek
No.
Lewis. He drops bombs, man.
All I'm saying is there a number on a check?
And he's a lot more fit now, too. That was what's really interesting about his last fight. He really dedicated himself. He had abs. He looked at the weigh-ins, he had abs. You look at him like, because he used to have to starve himself to make 265. So he would really like be undisciplined about it and go where he had to go 3 days without eating. And he did that a couple of times. He did that for one of his last fights, and he felt terrible. Because he's got to weigh 265, which is, to me, insane.
That he has to suck down.
Yeah,
That's how big he is.
That's how big he is.
I was in the elevator with him once.
And
before
that's
anybody knew him. I
also
was like,
why they should have a fucking super heavyweight division. Don't
agree.
you want to see a 400-pound dude?
Yes, I do.
Boom, boom.
Yes, I
want
do.
to see the Mountain fight in MMA?
I agree.
The Mountain could not fight in MMA. He's too big.
Well, the biggest guy is Brian Shaw, who I've
Oh my God, how big is that guy?
I've become good friends with.
He's so big. What does he weigh?
So Brian came to my show in Denver, and I did a whole episode of 2 episodes called Best of, my YouTube show with him. I went to his gym, and I worked out with him, and it was just so
Does he
much
do
fun.
like the Atlas stones and shit?
Dude, listen. This is a real thing. Okay, he's 6'8", I think might be 6'9", and he is
441
He was 465 pounds. Fucking trim.
465.
Now-
so he would
now-
have to lose 200 pounds to fight in the UFC.
Dude, he took 300 pounds in one hand, Joe. 300 pounds in one hand, look, and went like that. He squatted 720,
Look at the
720.
size of that guy.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
That's so insane.
But there's more to him. But let's just
He's a very smart guy, though.
very smart. You got to have him on the podcast. Very smart. He's about to do the Brian Shaw Classic, which is going to be huge. He's squatting a car in the Brian Shaw Classic.
Imagine trying to do jiu-jitsu against that guy.
Well,
Like, what are you gonna do?
well, I'm a little obsessed with him because he squatted 720 pounds 13 times in under a minute.
Why don't we get this guy to train jiu-jitsu? How old is he?
He's 40.
He'd smoke everybody.
I know he would.
All you have to do is get him to like blue belt level.
He's playing with the idea of arm wrestling, and Levant, the greatest guy of all
Yeah.
time, he sent him a funny video going, Brian, we don't need you in the arm wrestling division. He's so ridiculously strong. You got to remember, he picked up a Thomas Inch barbell. He was playing basketball, and he was just walking around like a giant guy. And you know what the Thomas Inch is? It's a circus trick. Like nobody can do it. You have to pinch the barbell and lift it up. It's like everybody who's strong tries to do it. You can't do it. It's 1 in like 100 million people can do it. And he walked over and goes, I don't know, what is this? And they go, that's a Thomas Inch. Try to pick it up. Nobody could do it all day. And he goes, okay. And just pinched and went, this? And the guy goes, do you know what you just did? He goes, no.
This is before he started training?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
and
my
he goes, if you don't
God.
become a strong man, but what makes Brian special is his intelligence, but he's super competitive to the point he came to my show in Denver and we're talking.
Size of that fucking
Yeah, those are over 200 pounds.
Bro, I want to get in his ear.
Oh no, listen to this.
Talk him into slap fighting.
Well, he there's a video of him slap fighting. He was hitting
No.
him. Yes. You don't understand how big he is, Bob.
Oh, I do understand. I saw a picture of you guys next to each
Yeah.
other.
Now he
He's like Shaquille O'Neal, but built like the Hulk.
But this is how he is. He read a story about a guy. I think he knew the guy who got fucked up by a black bear. The bear pulled his face off or something like that. And the bear weighed like, I think they found the bear, and the bear was like 450 pounds. Okay? And Bryan was like, he told me the story, and I go, so what are you saying? He goes, I just want to know how I do against the bear. And he was dead serious. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I mean, I'm just telling you, I'm just saying, I'm going to give the bear trouble.
He's not going to give the bear any trouble.
But it was so funny.
It's sad.
I go,
He's not
stop
gonna
it
give the
right
bear any
now.
trouble.
Stop it right now. He goes, I'm just saying, I'm just curious. But he's that competitive. He's that fucking competitive.
That's cute.
It is.
As far as human beings go, that guy rules the roost.
That is correct.
But when it comes to bears,
I told him that.
He might as well be you. He might as well be me. He might as well be Jamie.
Yeah.
He might as well be
But-
a 12-year-old boy.
Well, no, I think he gives the bear
Yes.
some trouble.
He gives the bear no trouble.
He's 450 pounds.
It doesn't matter.
And crazy strong.
It doesn't matter. You're not a bear.
Yeah, I know.
The strength those things have.
Yeah.
You
The
see them-
speed.
They
the
drag
bite, the bite
mooses
force.
around with their face.
Yeah.
They bite a moose and just drag it into the woods by their face.
I'm talking about a 450-pound bear.
What kind of bitch-ass bear are you talking about?
Hey, man, black bears.
He'd still get fucked up. The bites would be so terrifying. They
Yeah.
would start shredding pieces off of you, and then you're bleeding, and then you're getting weak.
Yeah.
You have no chance.
Now he's going to be a sweetheart here.
Who's this guy on his back?
That's Dustin
Dustin?
Poirier. Yeah.
Gets him real quick.
Dustin gets him? Because he doesn't know what to do.
Sort of.
Yeah,
No.
but if you listen,
No, you gotta understand,
He kind
Bryan.
of let him do that.
Yes.
If he wanted to, he could have
Yes.
fucking slammed
Yes.
him. But at the
Now
reality,
watch
okay,
this.
here we go.
Watch this.
So now he's in guard.
He's doing. If he really wants
He's
to get
got
rough
wrestling
with you,
shoes on, which is kind of a bitch.
he's going to do
move.
anything you want. He wants to.
He's got too much grip. I wouldn't allow him to have those shoes on. They'll fucking
Yeah.
shoes off, bro.
He's different strong. Like he'll
course
just
he is.
squeeze you. He'll
Look at the
squeeze
weight
you
of
till
him.
you poo.
Well, Dustin is a real black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm sure he could defend himself if the guy didn't know what he was doing. But all you'd have to do is teach him what to do.
Yeah.
See, if you just like put him through like a John Danaher 6-month course,
Yeah.
he'd be assassinating people.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
What we're doing on Fire and the Kid, right?
What are you doing
We're
on
gonna
Fire and the
have
Kid?
we're gonna have
Brandon
Bradley
Schaub
Martin
get more brain
Nope.
damage?
Well, I have to talk him into that. There's a
No,
number.
you're not talking him into that.
We're talking.
What the fuck
There
is
might
wrong
be
with you?
There might be a check. I
It
might
was
be his
like one of the
manager.
most traumatic moments in the history of us doing podcasts together is convincing him to stop fighting.
I know, and I'm pulling him back in. Now listen.
Why?
Hey, if there's a number on the check,
You're like the Colonel in the Elvis movie.
I am a bad guy.
Piece of shit.
But how about this? Mighty Mouse, Bradley
You
Martin.
got a gambling problem or something?
Yes, I'm putting all my money on Derek Lewis.
Derek
And so
Lewis.
is Brendan.
Bro,
We're
I
both-
would too. I would too. I can't bet on the UFC, but I'll bet on that.
Brendan.
Sorry, Brendan.
No, Brendan he's not going to do it until I got
Bro,
to push
they're
him a little
talking
more.
about Derek is a free agent now,
Yeah, I
and they're
know.
talking about maybe Derek going over to the PFL and getting $2 million to fight Francis.
Well, you know who's going to be bare-knuckling? Do you know Jorge Masvidal on September 8th? Who's fighting? Do you know about this?
On his event, right?
Yeah.
Who's fighting?
Fabricio Verdum
Oh,
versus
yes.
Junior Dos Santos.
Yes.
That's bare-knuckle,
Yeah.
but it's MMA.
Bro, Fabricio Verdum is in sick shape.
Oh, it's crazy.
Fabricio Verdum, something happened to him, like I don't know how long ago it was, but he just got super fucking dedicated to training.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now he's got a six-pack, he looks shredded.
Yep.
Fabricio Verdum, people forget that he is in the argument for one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He's in the argument as the number one guy because he tapped all the greats. He tapped Cain Velasquez. He tapped Fedor Emelianenko. He tapped Minotauro. Bro, he tapped everybody.
Yeah.
Fabricio Verdum, in my opinion, you have to consider him in the list of all the greats. Knocked out Mark Hunt with a flying knee.
Oh, that's right.
Fabricio
That's right.
Verdum is the fucking man.
Travis Brown.
Yeah, listen, man, guys beat him and Stipe knocked him out, but he's a warrior. He fought everybody, and he beat the best guys in their prime. When he tapped Fedor, it was wild.
Remember that?
Nobody could beat Fedor. Fedor was unstoppable. And when Fabricio Verdum locked him up in a triangle and you see Fedor tap, you're like, holy shit.
He's
People
so big.
forget. It was just
Long
like when
legs.
Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Like, it couldn't be done.
Right.
Fabricio catches him in a triangle.
Yeah.
Fabricio was so dangerous because his guard was just as lethal as his top game. A lot of times those big guys, with the exception of Frank Mir, who also had a super, super lethal guard as a heavyweight, most of those really big guys, they're always on top in the training room,
Right.
They're 250, 260. They're just driving on top of you and they're getting mount and you know, they use that strength and that pressure as for their game. But Fabricio Verdum is smart. And so what he realized is, look, he's already a big, giant dude. If he develops a lethal fucking guard, then it doesn't matter where he is. So he put as much emphasis into the guard as every other aspect of his game. So his guard was just fucking nasty against world-class heavyweights in an MMA fight. To lock up a triangle like that on Fedor Emelianenko in his prime, amazing.
I know, it's so insane.
Dude, Fabricio Verdum is the fucking man. When you watch his jiu-jitsu, like when he gets on top of guys, they're fucked, man.
Well, I think it was just he was a craft, the craft, like he was a technician too.
Yeah,
to be that big, but also technical.
World champion in jiu-jitsu, world top of the food chain, like jiu-jitsu, but with an MMA warrior, a guy who could knock you out,
just
too.
a competitor, just a
yeah. So like, I don't know how that fight plays out. Junior Dos Santos obviously is an elite striker too. You know, long in the tooth. He's been in the game for a long time. He's had some real wars.
Yeah, but he's in
those
shape.
Stipe fights, the Cain Velasquez fights. No matter what you do, those take something out of you.
Yeah,
those
he's in
wars,
crazy shape right now.
I'm sure.
You know?
Well, these guys, you know, I love the fact that there's other organizations
Yeah.
that are giving these guys a chance. And honestly, I'm a fan of the idea, at least the idea of bare-knuckle MMA. Because I think
you've always said that.
yes, because I think there's something very unrealistic about just opening up and punching people with your knuckles. You could break your hands.
Yeah.
And it's also defense-wise, when you have, especially boxing gloves. Boxing gloves give you this very distorted area of protection that you do not have when it's just your hands. Things
You gotta be literally like that. I mean,
well, Mike Perry talked about it. Like he's the most successful MMA fighter to make the conversion to bare knuckle boxing, and I think it's like he's like uniquely suited for it because he's such a dog.
I know,
such a mad.
And Luke
dog.
Rockhold's a monster, but that check hook wasn't working on. Mike just plowed ahead and just said, "You're gonna break your hand. I'm gonna lead with this part of my head, and I'm gonna swing."
Yeah.
And it's hard to deal with that, man, when you're dealing with gloves. You can't roll the same way.
Also, like Mike has got some real experience in those fights.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for a while now. You know, he's all in on bare knuckle boxing. He knows strategies. He knows to punch differently. Like you got to think that was Luke Rockhold's first bare knuckle boxing fight. Like, you don't really get to train hard bare-knuckle boxing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really spar bare-knuckle boxing. You'll cut your face up.
It's a different thing. It's a different
so, like,
game.
every time you're in there, I would imagine, at least, every time you're in there, it's a unique experience that adds to your repertoire of understanding what this thing is and how this is different than gloved MMA or boxing.
Right.
So it's just different.
It
and
is.
Mike excels in that.
Yeah.
Like, that is where his skill set and his toughness and his fucking grit just dominates.
Yeah.
He dominates people.
It's almost a mindset. It's a type of person that
He's an
can
animal.
do that. Yeah.
Dude's a legit 100%, no faking it, all animal.
I mean,
he's not pretending to be an animal. That is who that guy is. And when he fights in the bare knuckle boxing ring, he's like uniquely qualified to fuck people up in that sport.
So let me ask you, you know fighting. Bradley Martin on the podcast said he could beat Mighty Mouse, but he doesn't know Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse said, I'm going on vacation, but when I get back, I'm down. They're not going to have an MMA fight. They're going to have a jiu-jitsu match.
Bradley Martin has no chance.
Against 125
He has no
fighter.
chance.
Is
there a time limit?
There is not a time limit.
Then he has
sir.
no chance.
Is that right?
Zero chance.
He's going to get his back taken. He's
100% going to get choked out.
So we're going to.
It's just going to take time.
Yeah, we're going to lay some mats
Bradley is enormous, and Bradley is so fucking strong.
He's an athlete too. He's
an athlete.
Yeah.
Yes. No. He's a fucking specimen.
Truly,
he's a specimen.
truly.
Now, if this was in a street fight, the thing about Bradley is he can hit you with the earth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he can literally pick you up and you're
dive
gonna
on you.
hit the earth with, what does he weigh? 270?
Dude,
280? What does he weigh?
He's 265, but like
Jack.
if you his hands, when you grab his
There's
hands,
Bradley.
yeah.
So-
but his hands are huge.
The amount of force
Yeah.
that body can generate. If that guy picks you up and smashes you into the ground, your body will shatter.
Yes.
Your body will shatter.
Yes.
If you're a human being, if somehow or another Mighty Mouse fucks up and that guy can pick him up and slam him into the ground, I don't know how much Mighty Mouse is going to be able to physically do to mitigate that.
Right.
If that guy knows how to pick people up, if he has any wrestling at all, he's so big.
Yeah.
And Mighty Mouse is, He probably walks around at a $150 or a $145, and he cuts down to 125. He's so good.
I know.
But if they just no slamming, if they just do a jiu-jitsu match, Mighty Mouse is going to get him. He's going to get tired.
He's going to get him, yeah.
He's going to get tired. He's not going to know the positions.
Yeah.
He's going to get trapped.
Just that's what jiu-jitsu is.
Yeah.
That's what grappling is on that level.
It will be wild to see.
Yeah. We're going to
'Cause
do it.
he's
We're
so
gonna
much smaller.
Try to do it in the studio. We're going to have some mats laid out.
There's some old videos of Pedro Sauer. Pedro Sauer is a legendary MMA black belt. Had a match with a bodybuilder. And Pedro Sauer, he's not a big guy. I want to say he's maybe, I don't want to disrespect him, but I want to say he's in the like 160 range, 170 maybe at the most. And this guy is this big fucking bodybuilder. And they had like a no rules fight in the gym. And this guy just thought he was going to fuck him up. And Pedro Sauer just kept kicking his legs. And this dude's like swinging punch. Then he cracks him with a punch. Look at the size of this guy.
Yeah.
But eventually he gets the dude down.
Yeah, that guy does not a fighter.
But look how skinny Pedro is.
Yeah.
And he's not a big guy.
But that's not surprising to me. I mean, if you do any boxing, a guy like that isn't. You never see a boxer or a fighter like who's that muscle.
But what all Pedro's trying to do is open him up for the takedown. This is what he wants. So the dude gets on top of him. Beautiful butterfly sweep.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he did that, he executed it so and look at the guy rolled him over though.
Yeah.
That's how strong this fucking dude is. But eventually he gets the guy.
He'll get tired.
Exactly.
He's got his
but
hips too high.
this is not as big a size and strength disparity as Mighty Mouse and Bradley Martin. Bradley Martin is so much bigger than Mighty Mouse. This guy was bigger and stronger for sure, but you know, Pedro Sauer's not a small guy.
No.
Got all the blood and shit already. Yeah, he catches his arm here.
There you go.
Oh, wrestling shoes on too. Wrestling shoes are
that's a
giant.
problem.
Imagine he talked the bodybuilder into no wrestling shoes. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Like, why would that guy fight barefoot? And then he got him in the
That's
belly
a
down.
deep arm lock. Oh.
Yeah. Those are horrible.
Yeah. Just tap.
I've seen so many people get their arms broken.
Fuck that.
Do you know the one that freaks me out the most is the Kimura? Because it's that spiral fracture of the upper arm. And I'm always like, please fucking tap. Please tap. Please tap. Please fucking tap. I say that
that's
so
how
many
I am
times.
now with like when people get punched in the face too much. I don't like it. I don't want to see.
Meanwhile, you're trying to get Brendan Schaub to go fight MMA
There's a
bare-knuckle
number on the
against
check,
Derek
bro.
Lewis.
There's a number on a check. I'm
Derek
just saying.
Lewis will make you forget your childhood.
He will.
You
For a
won't,
while.
You won't remember anything below like 10th grade.
Then you're rich.
No. We got to protect our boy's brain.
I text Brendan this morning. I go, "How's trading going? Work on your defense." He goes, "Fuck you." So
I hope he's too smart to do that. I don't care how much money they throw at you.
Yeah.
You don't want Derek Lewis. That giant flying knee that he landed to start out the fight. He goes, I was practicing that bullshit for 5 years. I was ready to quit on it.
Is that what he said?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
He took his fucking pants off in the octagon. He ran around. He did the X across his dick.
He said that to him. Remember when he said to his wife, I'm coming home. I'm going deep tonight.
Yeah, he's an animal. He's
got a great sense of humor.
He's his fucking Instagram is the most funny Instagram.
They took it down.
No.
Yeah.
When?
I don't know. It's not up anymore, right?
The Beast UFC? Check. I hope they put it back.
Yeah.
Zuck. Come on,
Maybe it's
buddy.
back up. I don't know.
Put it back up. So he'll like have people just getting hit by trucks and shit. And it's like he's okay.
Yeah, but they said you can't. He got a strike or something for that shit.
Well, he's wild. He'll put up everything.
Yeah.
Gunshots, animal attacks. Yeah. It's like the Derek Lewis Instagram was one of my first places I go to in the morning.
Different dudes.
While I'm taking a shit, I'm like, what does Derek find?
It's almost like you have to be a fighter.
Oh, it's still up.
Athletes and fighters.
It's still up.
Okay. Athletes and fighters, like he's.
Oh, watch this guy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is not good. That guy's paralyzed. Those fucking dudes, man. Nobody beats their body up more than pro wrestlers.
No.
You think MMA fighters beat their body up? Every pro wrestler that I talk to that's been in here, Ric Flair.
Yeah, Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Gold medalist in the Olympics said, I got more injuries by far doing pro wrestling than I did wrestling.
For sure.
Broke his neck.
For sure.
Broke his neck.
I think he had a broken neck when he was in the Olympics, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's what the legend of Kurt Angle, that he like won the Olympics with a broken neck.
God. A gold medal.
Bro,
I don't think there's anything harder.
There's no harder men.
No.
Yeah, look at this.
Look
the
at
Olympic
that.
trials, he suffered a severe neck injury, fracturing 2 of his cervical vertebrae, herniating 2 discs, and pulling 4 muscles. Nonetheless, Angle won the trials and then spent the subsequent 5 months resting and
Are
rehabilitating.
you kidding me?
Dude.
Think about that.
96 Olympic trials, suffers a fucking severe neck injury.
Look at his neck.
and then went on to win the Olympics. Yeah, I mean, his neck is fucking insane. Imagine something can break that neck.
Yeah.
Look at the size of that. That's a waist.
Yeah.
His neck is a waist. It's so big.
You know, the more you work out, though, how are your injuries? How do you feel? Like, what is?
I always have something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do about that.
With the way you work out now, like I work out, I still work out with Lou Parada, the greatest, one of my favorite people on the planet. He's 66-year-old guy, a strong man, been working out his whole life. We work out maybe 20, 25 minutes. It's a motherfucker. It's a motherfucker. But the way he confuses my nervous system and stuff like that, like I always feel good and energized. I mean, some days will be strength, other days will be like what he calls hygiene. But
hygiene?
Yeah, like we'll do. It'll always be something like it'll always be something like a full body movement, right? So whether it's weighted lunges or pull-ups, I'll deadlift and stuff like that. But a lot of times it's not heavy weight. It's not a heavy day. It's just me going low, stretching it out, pulling it up. And I always feel more flexible and strong. I never feel injured. I can do anything. So if I was in Jordan and this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever done, but I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with being on a fucking tour. And there was this Bedouin guy with an Arabian horse. I was in Petra. And I don't know what got into me, man. I just was like, how much for you just to take me on that horse? I want to get on the horse and I want to just ride. Now, I haven't ridden in 20 fucking years. And I almost died because I had no business being on. You know how when you know in the movies where you get on the horse and my sister's like, what are you doing? And I'm trying to turn it and the horse is doing this and it just takes off. It was like that comedic.
So you were controlling the horse?
No, the horse was riding me.
Okay, but it was just you and the horse, not the guy and you.
But the guy's behind me, and we're galloping and stuff like that. And I just didn't have the balance. I hadn't ridden in too long. I just didn't have the balance. I'm on a fucking horse. I don't know.
And your estrogen's high.
And my estrogen. No, dude. I'd stopped
doing.
You were
weeping.
No, bro. I stopped doing my
you were
Propecia,
weeping when you
bro.
saw the horse.
I was dead behind the eyes.
Okay.
And I was sore for a week after that because I was trying not to die. Because we rode for about an hour. But the point I'm making is that I can do things like that and I'm okay without injuring myself. I can kind of do whatever it is, whether it's sand volleyball, whether it's fucking tennis, whether it's box. I was in Philly and I was with J. Rock Williams and Julian J. Rock Williams, and I went to this awesome gym and I boxed for a while. That was really fun. My boy Coach Anthony was holding mitts. You can really push yourself and I'm okay. I'm okay. Like I think if you train a certain way, you're not going to be injured.
Right.
And as you get older, I don't want my body to be in the way.
Yeah, weightlifting is very important as you get older.
Yes.
It's very important to keep your muscle mass, keep your strength.
Yes.
It's like there's a direct correlation between longevity and muscle mass. And there's also, from a preventing injury standpoint, just being more resilient if you fall, things along those lines. You really want to be strong. And it's not even just for a vanity thing. It's just you want to be strong because it's more valuable than being weak.
Yes.
There's no value in being weak.
But do you lift heavy weights all the time?
The heaviest weight I lift is 70 pounds.
Okay, there you go. That's the same thing.
I do these kettlebell routines where they're really brutal, and I do them with long breaks in between them. I do that Pavel Tsatsouline method.
Yeah.
So what I do is, it depends on the day. Like some days I'll do a body weight routine, which is much more cardiovascular intense. But when I do the kettlebell routine, I warm up with 35s, and then I do a couple of sets with 50s, where I'm just basically doing like 10 reps, getting things going, and then I switch to 70s. And the 70s is when I'm doing my heavy shit. Right. That's when I'm doing like gorilla cleans, where you're like switching arms. Yeah. That's where I'm doing clean press and squats. That's where I'm doing windmills. That's what I'm doing.
And 70 pounds is not that heavy for you.
No, it's manageable.
Right.
It's totally manageable.
But that's as high as you go, and that's important.
But if I'm having two, it's 140 pounds.
It's a lot of weight.
Right? But it's the most important thing is that everything's working. My core is working, my back is working, my legs are working, and I'm conditioning my body to be able to manipulate awkward weights and do it like with windmills and stuff like that. So that's what I try to do. That's like my overall strengthening routine. I just want to keep my body where it works really good.
Yep.
And then I max that in on the body weight days. It's push-ups, body weight squats, chin-ups, dips, pull-ups.
Yep.
And so then I do this.
That's what he does with me. That's
this
exactly
thing.
his philosophy. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm not having you lift heavy weights. I'll flip a tire and stuff, but he's like, you are at an age where your tendons and your joints, you are going to get injured. If you try to do that CrossFit stuff where you're lifting heavy weight all
To
the time,
max,
it's
yeah,
gonna
to
something's
failure.
gonna pop. It just
Yeah.
is. You're gonna be tired that day. Something's gonna be off. You're not gonna be focused enough.
Yeah.
Boom.
And I don't do anything to failure.
Yeah.
And that's also what I learned from Pavel Tsatsouline. He's like, if you can do like 10 reps to failure, do 5.
Really?
Yeah, and then wait a long time, and then do another 5.
Why?
Because you're getting the same amount of work in, but you're not breaking down your tissue in the same way. And he thinks it'll help you recover quicker, and it'll condition your body to be able to do this more often.
Yeah. Lou calls it stimulate, don't annihilate. Right. So he always. You're talking about a guy. What I love about working out with a guy like this guy is he's been at it he's 66. He's trained everybody, and he's done it all. He was a bodybuilder, a power lifter, and he just has seen people come and go. He's seen all the injuries, like Dorian Yates.
Yes.
Guys like that, they just know.
Yeah.
They just know a lot. They've seen what an overabundance of steroids do. They've seen what this does. They've seen what that does. So it's all about, it's body maintenance.
Yeah.
It's body maintenance.
Longevity.
Stimulate. Yeah, we figured out a lot of stuff so far on this podcast, guys.
Yeah, you
Hope
just
wrote
got to
this
be
shit
careful
down.
not to hurt yourself. And whenever I see guys doing like heavy benching and stuff, I'm like, yikes, buddy.
Well, jiu-jitsu too, right? That's a good way to.
Yeah, but you can do jiu-jitsu with good partners.
Yeah.
And, you guys can both.
Drill,
You go at like level 7 or level
Yeah.
8. You're not fucking spazzing out.
You still rolling?
Yeah.
You are.
I haven't in a while, but I'm doing it again. I was just waiting for my knee to get better.
Have you ever rolled with Mr. Ryan?
No, I have not. That seems like it'd be not much fun.
Yeah. He's much bigger than I ever thought.
Yeah, I was rolling with Gabe Tuttle, who's the head instructor at 10th Planet. We did it for a while. Then I fucked my knee up, and I realized, like, I keep fucking it up. So I stopped kicking. I haven't kicked a bag in forever. And I got a bunch of stem cell injections, and I did all those knees over toes things.
Yeah.
And I was just concerned with this seems like it's continuing to deteriorate. And I think like if I continue with the same activities, it's going to continue to deteriorate to a point where I can't fix it. And I'm like, okay, I know how this goes. I've seen other people do it. I'm going to do a very hard thing, which is to hit the brakes on something I fucking love to do.
Yeah.
I love martial arts training. It's the most fun, but I realize like I really can't do that right now. I can still punch the bag, but I'm like for a long time. So like for like a fucking year, I barely kicked the bag. Like I would every now and then walk up to and tap it a little bit, but now it finally doesn't hurt anymore. And after all the stem cell treatments and all the strength and conditioning routines that I put it through, now it just occasionally gets sore, but it's nothing like what it used to be.
What's the
before.
issue?
Oh, I have 2 reconstructed knees, and the left one I had some meniscus removed, and recently, like about 2 years ago, I suffered an MCL tear, and I didn't know it was an MCL tear. I thought it was just, just tweaked or whatever, and then finally I got it looked at, and so I got a bunch of stem cells on that, and that's when I stopped kicking, and I went and just did like very regularly did the knee over toe stuff, the pulling the sleds backwards, the step downs.
You know what's funny about you talking this way? It's like as you get older, you get more delicate. You calcify, and you got to warm up better, and you just get.
You know how I hurt my knee?
How?
To the
I know
dumbest-
exactly how.
How?
You were kicking.
No.
Oh, I
No.
thought you were trying to do that
No, that was my other knee.
with Joe Schilling. Okay.
Yeah, that was my other. That knee's fine now. Yeah, I tore my meniscus.
I'm watching you do that going, if I had been there, I'd been like, it's like Schaub trying to race Chappelle in a race without warming up. I go, you're gonna fucking
blow your hamstring.
He blew both of them.
Yeah, I had jeans on, and I was 53 with no warm up, and Joe Schilling challenged me to a kicking contest.
I saw it.
I'm like, okay.
I saw it. Yep, kicking hard. You
Let's
kick too
go.
hard.
Yeah, so I did tweak my knee in that, but that was fairly minor. That was just annoying. And then, but I got a bunch of stem cells and fixed that too.
Right.
That doesn't bother me at all. My right knee doesn't bother me at all anymore. But my left knee, there is a piece of meniscus missing. So this is what happened. I was walking on stage at Stubbs. I was doing these shows with Chappelle. And this is during the pandemic. So we're backstage and everyone's barbecued. And I'm walking, and the stairs at Stubbs are these concrete stairs, and they kind of curve. And I'm going to turn my recorder on my phone, and I stub my toe on one of the steps and twist my knee sideways. Bad. Like in fucking pain.
Before the
while
show?
they're bringing me up.
No.
So they bring me up on stage, and my knee is killing me. And my leg is shaking like I'm nervous.
Oh, no.
Like my left leg is
And
shaking.
you're in front of, I don't know how many thousand, 12,000 people or something.
No. It wasn't that many people. It was like 500 or something
Okay.
like that, 600 people.
Oh, fuck,
but
dude.
it was...
It's actually worse because they can see your knee.
Well, they definitely could see my knee was shaking. But the set went great.
Yeah.
It's like, no one could tell by the material. I did the
when you're doing
material the right
stand-up
way.
fuck off, it's like...
And it was... Everybody was so enthusiastic. We were having so much fun. But I fucked it up so bad doing that. And then I started training Muay Thai right away. I didn't stop. I shot some BPC 157 into it. I waited a few days, started feeling better. I'm like, I'll just wear some knee sleeves and train. So I went, I started doing.
Good idea. Bro science.
Well, I was doing.
Shoot the shit in my knee.
Muay Thai in the mornings.
Rub
I
dirt on
fucking
it.
loved it. I do Muay Thai and then come here straight from there.
Yeah,
Just crack
great.
pads and have a good time. But it just wouldn't get better. It wouldn't get. It's also the same knee I fucked up skiing. I wiped out skiing. I got a concussion and I suffered what's
You
called.
did? You
Yeah.
wiped out skiing?
Yeah. And I got something that's called an insufficiency fracture. It's when your knees smash together because you don't have meniscus there, and it cracked the top of my shin.
Ah, fuck, dude.
Yeah, it was very annoying. That was my last skiing. Because
Yeah.
I was going around this corner and this lady was new. She didn't know what to do. And she's just like sliding in the middle of the trail. She just couldn't stop herself. And it was either take her out or fall.
Yeah.
And I fell hard. I banged the back of my head off the ground.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the day I was just like,
I got hit
had
by
no
a
coordination.
snowboarder, a young lady.
Oh.
She knocked me, I got just wiped. And all she did was look back and kept skiing. And I saw her down in the line. And I put my head down.
You didn't say anything
No,
to
I
her?
was embarrassed. I was like, I'm an old man. She was like a really good young girl. And I was like...
She was
I
hot
kinda-
and you got nervous.
No, she was too young. She was like a fucking probably...
She just looked at you like an old man.
18-year-old.
You were
Yeah, I'm an
embarrassed
old
of being
man. I'm
old.
like, exactly. I'm like, shouldn't be on there myself. Just
Yeah, but she just plowed into you and Gwyneth Paltrow'd you.
I deserved it, bro.
Gwyneth Paltrow won that case, right?
Yeah,
That
she
guy
did.
seemed like he was full of shit.
Yeah, he's a fucking... Yes, he's
Seemed a
completely
little
full
bit.
of shit. That I watched that. And I
That
was
seemed
like,
a little opportunistic.
yeah,
right?
dude. Also,
weren't they saying that he hit her though?
Yes, it was embarrassing. He had all these ideas and what happened to him. He couldn't like go to dinner. He could. It was all these. I read
so
all these
he
things
just
like,
thought he was getting paid.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Even if
They just-
Gwyneth
people want it
Paltrow
to
really
go
hurt
away.
me, I wouldn't sue her.
Isn't that funny that people would do that where they just want it to go away?
Shortcut.
Yeah.
You're a shortcut taker.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be okay. And my lawyer is saying that really we need to do something about this.
go ahead.
Significant.
Yeah. Okay.
Really
you go ahead and do that.
significant.
People who do that. I love the greatest quote I ever heard Jordan Peterson say was, "In my 35 years of analysis, I've never seen anyone get away with anything ever, even once." I fucking love that. Amen. Get that tattooed to your fucking. He said, "You can twist the fabric of reality for a while, but you ain't getting the piper must be paid." And the truth will get you. So you can go ahead and do all those things. You can fuck people over. You can lie. You can do that. But I'll see you. I'll see you over there. I'll be at the bottom of the river while the bodies float by. You just
Ooh,
keep.
that's a
doing that.
great quote, isn't it?
That's Sam Tripoli, one of my favorite people on the planet.
Well,
the great Sam
who is that?
Tripoli.
Is that Sun Tzu?
I don't know, but Sam Tripoli is the one who says you just
Yeah.
got to wait at the mouth of the river and let all the bodies float by.
Yeah, live long enough to see the bodies of your enemy drift by you in the river or something like that.
Something like that.
What is the exact? I believe it's The Art of War.
I like that. I like Confucius's notion on revenge. Before you seek revenge, remember to dig 2 graves.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's great.
Those wise things. That's actually a really interesting idea.
Especially back to when there's no doctors.
Well, yeah. That's always when you
Bro.
when they would leech you.
Here it is. It's Sun Tzu. Yeah, Art of War.
You wait by the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by. Damn.
Ooh, I
Damn,
like
dude.
that. I like that.
Yeah.
I think about that when I watch CNN.
You won that one, buddy. You won that.
Bodies of your enemies.
One. You won that one.
It's an amazing thing how as you grow older and you have more life experiences, your perspective kind of like tightens and moves, and as you get older and as you see the world with more and more experience, you get a better and clearer picture. And it makes you wonder, how limited were humans when they only lived to be like 30? Like, how much did people really have a chance to expand and figure things out?
I don't know, because a lot of great things, were discovered or created probably then too.
For sure.
I think when you're very aware of how finite your life is, and when you're very aware that you are a victim to forces that are so much stronger than yourself, whether it's disease, first of all, losing a child.
Right.
I mean, that was a reality, a common death.
It's like 50%.
Lincoln lost, I think, 4 of his children. Mary Todd ended up in a mentalist institution because she lost 4 of her children to diseases. They don't even know what they were. A fever, probably diphtheria or whatever it was. They would just roll through towns, and it didn't matter who.
Poor hygiene, no nutrition.
All that.
People
and
just died.
They didn't know what it was. That people would die of, what is it called, malagra, whatever.
Consumption.
Which was, yeah. I mean, that was everybody.
Yeah.
But I think that sometimes when you're aware that there is a clock, and that clock might ding at any moment.
Yeah.
In Japan, when you get sentenced to death, they don't tell you what the date is.
Ooh.
You just sit in your cell and they show up when it's your turn. And it's an interesting idea because there's something about focusing your mind when you this might be your last day, and it might be for everyone. Things have a different gravity to them, and I think that that's where you get amazing. I don't know if I'm right about this, but I do think that there is something to be said about having very limited time, even living with pain.
Yes.
You'll create some shit.
Well, also, that was the only reality available. There was no notion of, I just need to get back to civilization. There was no, I need to get to the city and everything's going to be back to normal again. I'll go to New York and ride the subway.
Correct.
This doesn't exist.
Yeah,
so
you didn't
the
have the
only
protection.
reality that exists is this unbelievably difficult world of murder and violence.
Yeah, but it does something else too.
I got to pee.
You do?
Yeah, let's go back.
do?
I do. Yeah.
We'll come back.
We'll come back.
All
I
right,
got to
I gotta pee. I'll secure your hips.
Oh, don't do it.
But here's my thought on what you were saying. Here's my thought on the idea of like when life was kind of brutish and short and all that.
Yeah.
I think it's actually, in a way, it's not an accident that some of the greatest literature was written, like Dostoevsky, who was, living in that rudimentary world, and you have these great works of art. I think part of it is what happens is if you are basically, you don't know when you're going to die because the universe is that much of a mystery. I don't know when a disease is coming. I don't know when invaders are coming and they're going to enslave me. I don't know when all that stuff. There's something about creating art under those circumstances. Your mindset, you are already humbled. It is not about you. It'd be really weird to like build a huge chapel and then put your name on it. You didn't see great architecture, great buildings that were built, and then the architect was heralded.
Have you never been to Trump Tower, bitch?
That's very different, my friend. That's very different.
Giant gold Trump.
Yes. You wouldn't see that as much. You see kings that did that, but the artist didn't do that. Trump. Apparently he doesn't own a lot of those buildings.
Shut the fuck up. What are you, a communist?
I'm just saying he leases, he puts his name on there, which is great. He's so entertaining.
He's hilarious.
But we're never going to have...
Did you see what he tweeted, or truth socialed, rather?
No.
And he was like celebrating the indictment. He's like, one more indictment and then I'm a shoo-in for the White House.
I know.
He's like,
That's 3 indictments, dude.
He's got Teflon.
If
he wins this, though.
Yeah.
If he wins this case.
Himself.
Well, if he wins this case.
The only case,
I don't think he can pardon himself.
No, the only case he's going to have real trouble with. I think the Alvin Bragg case in I think it's New York, is a bullshit case where it's this obscure thing. You got these prosecutors that are looking, they're being very, very creative with the law, right? Typically with laws, it's called meat and potatoes laws. You're supposed to, when somebody breaks a law and there's a law that's passed, it's supposed to be something that somebody who doesn't have a law degree can understand. And like if you look at Jack Smith, who's the prosecutor in this January 6th thing, what he's being charged with, I think, is a form of fraud, defrauding the American voter, which is saying, I won the election when he knows he lost, but he never ever admitted that he lost. They can't find anybody who said that. So there's all this gray area. But the one issue he's going to have is the mishandling of classified documents, because they have him on tape saying, I know this is classified. And then I think he has a guy, they have him talking to one of his staff saying, get rid of this. That's going to be a tough one for him. But I think the other two.
What are the punishments of mishandling classified
There are people
documents?
right now who are in jail for doing that. They're right now, and in fact, some of them I think worked for his campaign.
What is the difference between the accusations against Joe Biden, where he was mishandling documents, and the accusations against Trump?
So anytime presidents are allowed to have documents in their possession when they are working on their memoirs, etc. Now, the Justice Department and the affiliated agencies, as far as I understand it, then look at what you have. And then they send you a notice and say, by the way, you have these documents that are in your possession. X, Y, and Z are classified. You have to return them. They give you a grace period in which to return those documents. So with Biden, and with a lot of other presidents, that's what happens. They say, you're in possession of classified documents. You have this window to return them, and then you return them, and Biden did. With Trump, he didn't. There are a number of things that he just didn't return.
But I thought Biden had classified documents that his aides found.
Yeah, he did.
Corvette.
They all do. They all do.
But wasn't that from 2014, from when he was vice president?
Yes, but the issue is not that he had those classified documents.
That he didn't turn them over when they were requested.
Yes.
I see.
And there's a fundamental difference there. Now, if you then are, I think he said, I could have declassified this, but I didn't. Something like that. When Trump said that, because at that point he was a private American citizen. And that's where the problem lies.
How these recordings, how were they obtained?
I think they're all a matter of record. I think that in discovery.
Well, how did someone record him?
I think his lawyers had to. Well, a lot of what a president does when you're doing your memoirs and stuff, I think, is they record you. So you're recording a lot of things you're saying and things like that.
But wasn't he was having a conversation with someone where he was showing them the documents?
Yes.
That was recorded? That was recorded somehow?
Yeah, they somehow they have them on tape saying that.
So was it surreptitiously recorded?
I don't know, and I didn't get that from what I followed. I think that was just something that was happened to be part of the body of evidence in discovery.
What I heard as an argument against that was that he was being braggadocious.
They're going to use whatever they can.
Yeah.
And there's a chance he might get off on all of these things. And there's no doubt that these indictments have made him stronger with his base. The real question is, see, this is all, you're never going to get people who say, well, Biden is really old and we don't have an answer. Don't complain. If you're not going to vote in primaries, we're always going to have the candidates that the most extreme elements of each party nominates. If you want DeSantis or you want someone else, you better vote in the primary. If you don't vote in the primary, and nobody does, including me, so I'm not scolding anybody. You ain't getting you're getting the people that the diehard Republicans, diehard Democrats, and the most active members of that party are gonna nominate. That's who's gonna be there. Yeah.
That's
you want to change the political system? Fucking vote in the primaries. Andrew Yang, whoever you like, all these guys. That's all great. That's all adorable. And the real political operatives just look at you and go, "That's cute." Well, we'll see it. What
a wild system.
Yeah. Vote in the primary.
A wild two-party system.
Yes. Now, the only thing that, if DeSantis crushes first of all, I think he should go back to being governor for 4 more years. But if he wins, the first 2 states, like New Hampshire and Iowa, and gets a lot of press for that, there's a chance that there can be some, but I don't think so otherwise.
I think the Trumpers are all in. The audio recording comes from a July 2021 interview Trump gave at his Bedminster resort for people working on the memoir of Mark Meadows,
there you go.
Trump's former chief of staff. The special counsel's indictment alleges that those in attendance, a writer, publisher, and 2 of Trump's staff members, were shown classified information about the plan of attack on Iran.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
But here's what bothers me a little bit about all this. So
Hold on a second. Let me see what Trump says here. He says, there was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things, Trump said on Fox. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles. Okay. Well, if that's true, that's a completely different thing. Then that sounds like they're saying that he showed them classified documents, and he's saying I showed them a massive amount of papers and I didn't show them anything specifically.
Look,
and saying that there was nothing to declassify. If he's telling the truth, these were newspaper stories, magazines, stories, and articles. If that's true.
You're going to have to, his lawyers are going to argue all that.
Yeah.
This is political as much as it is legal.
Well, that's what scares me,
Yeah.
that people are behind this idea that you're going to arrest your political rival.
That's the biggest.
That
Not only
seems-
that, but you have prosecutors that are getting real creative with the law. And I don't think we want a system like that. And I don't think we want, every time somebody runs for office, because now the Bidens are in trouble. I mean, Hunter Biden's in real trouble here.
Yeah.
And this guy, Devin Archer, said that Biden was on the phone on behalf of his son 20 times, and that was Devin Archer, who's also going to jail. Now, that was Hunter Biden's business partner, and he said he personally witnessed that, and he said that under sworn testimony. There is enough evidence to at least investigate the idea that maybe Biden took a $5 million bribe. Whatever the case. But my point about this is the mainstream media, legacy media, gives that almost no attention.
Yeah.
And all you have, that I think that the legacy of Donald Trump will be, in some ways, the other side was so hysterical about him being a clear and present danger to the United States. And I'm talking about Republicans, I'm talking about the deep state, I'm talking about Democrats, I'm talking about a lot of people, that they have behaved in an undemocratic, un-American way. They have bent a lot of rules, and they're bringing these indictments, 3 of which now, I think, or 4, in a period of 6 months. I don't think we want a system like that. I don't think you want people running for office and then somebody who's on the other side of the aisle gets real creative with their prosecutorial, with bending the law, figuring out the gray areas of the law. And
Well,
now you're spending all your money on legal fees.
Especially when there's been no answer to what they did with the Russia collusion hoax.
You mean
That
Adam Schiff, who's still
they
taken seriously?
Promoted that. They promoted that in mainstream media. They promoted that. Politicians promoted it. They called him a Russian asset.
Listen, Adam Schiff, he was the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Is that what it is? Adam Schiff knew. He never saw any evidence that Trump was in collusion with the Russians, or that the Russians were interfering in American elections, or that whatever. Or that there may have been evidence of that, but there was no evidence that Russia and Trump were in collusion. And he kept saying it. He kept saying it on every news outlet he could. That's a fact. And he knew otherwise. And no one's held him to task for that. That was a lie to the American people. It just was. And that's what I have a problem with.
And there's been no acknowledgement, like in mainstream media, that was a hoax and that he was innocent of what they were accusing him of.
None.
That is so wild. And they go from that to new accusations. So for the casual, for the person that's not doing a deep dive in all these stories and reading all these articles, what you're getting is the narrative that you see in headlines. Trump indicted again. Trump's a criminal. Trump did this. Trump, incited people to enter the Capitol on January 6th because he said the election was rigged.
And all this trouble that Biden is in now and his son is in was all on Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yeah.
And we were told that there was nothing to see there.
Didn't 51 members
Yes.
of intelligence agencies
Yes.
signed off on that? It was
Yeah.
Russian disinformation.
There you go. So what does that do about that? My problem with all of this is that it just destroys credibility.
Yeah.
It destroys people's faith in the
What you said earlier is
institutions.
perfect. It's un-American.
Yeah.
It really is. And I know you're doing it because you think you want to beat this guy by any means necessary, but you're becoming a tyrant.
You're setting up a system that's going to be used against you too.
100%. And it's also setting a precedent of things that we allow.
Yeah.
And
right.
no one seems to care because it's Trump. Because it's Trump, he's like a non-human to them. Like all the rules of empathy and dignity and the most charitable view of things never apply.
That's right.
It's like the worst examples of anything that he's ever said or anything he's ever done, and that's all he is.
Well,
And if you say that, you're a Trump apologist. But like you got to look at what is going on. There's a massive movement to keep this guy from being president again, and some of it you don't want to see happening in a democratic society.
No. My worry is that, I really do think legacy media, a lot of these people come from the same colleges, the same area codes. They do see the world differently than most of us who are out there trying to build a life.
Isn't that wild?
It is wild.
That they somehow or another are supposedly representing the frequency of the country, but they're so off.
Yeah.
And they think they're superior because they're very educated.
Yeah.
And because they're indoctrinated into this progressive ideology, and they think that there's a mandate to not just exist and do your thing, but to change the world and mold it into these ideas that you were indoctrinated with in school.
Yeah, and there becomes this lateral cooperation with the powers that be. And so they can very easily highlight one story and suppress another, or just not report on another. And when you walk into a newsroom and you're somebody who's looking to speak truth to power and be part of the way the Fourth Estate should really work, which used to be that journalists were all blue-collar guys and gals who hit the pavement, now you've got people that agree with the idea, for example, that maybe people who are in power with this education know a little bit more than the people that are actually out, the fly-by states. That great, I can't remember who said it, might have been William F. Buckley who said, you have to understand that would you rather be ruled by the Harvard faculty or the first 2,000 names in the Boston phone book? If you believe in democracy, you've got to say the first 2,000 names in the Boston phone book. It sounds very enticing to get the Harvard faculty. They're smart as shit. They know what's best for all of us. Let the philosopher kings run it. But that's not how our grand experiment works. And I think this is the greatest country in the world because it always pushes the ideal and the idea that the individual should always supersede the collective, that the collective will always become a tyranny. And you as an individual have certain inalienable rights that can't be taken away from you no matter which way the wind blows and no matter how strong the collective is. That's such an important distinction. It is the fundamental distinction between being somebody who's for free markets and democracy and somebody who's a socialist. That's why I think socialism is way more dangerous. All these young people have a favorable view of socialism. No, I'm sorry. Now you have a top-down authority that believes in orchestrating and socially engineering equality at all costs, which means we got to keep the people that are really excelling. You got to keep them down a little bit. That's why you have Congress people like saying things like in California, "Fuck Elon Musk." They say stuff like that to a guy who creates that many jobs and is that innovative and that much of a risk taker. And that's what I worry about.
I worry that human beings naturally, we have an inclination towards competition. And we think about things not just for the greater good of the country, but when you're locked into a party war, it's the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party. This is a sports game. And whatever dirty tricks you can use by deflating balls or fucking spiking people's Kool-Aid, whatever the fuck you can do to get people to lose or to win, there's going to be certain elements of your party that are willing to do that. There's going to be. The problem is when it becomes the intelligence agencies. The problem is when when they're colluding, like
I know.
they're working in conjunction, and then also they're contacting social media companies.
I think that some of it is the stuff you've talked about, which is this is new territory. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to deal with the amount of misinformation and malinformation and disinformation. You don't know where it's coming from.
How much of it's coming from us?
Well,
do you think there's any American misinformation troll farms?
Yes.
Do you think the government funds them?
Yes.
Jesus.
I mean,
so
it would make
terrifying,
sense. I don't think it's done with like. See, I don't think conspiracies like. I think that there are programs and ideas that might be. You might set up a propaganda ministry quietly to combat something else.
Yeah.
We did that with ISIS. They were very good with their recruiting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we said, let's figure out a way to to deal with that.
Yeah,
But
that would
it's,
be
it's
best
a-
case scenario.
Yeah,
They
but
do it to combat
this
ISIS.
is new for people. This is new. You've got to, there's all this blowback. You come up with a plan. This is hard stuff. There's no group of people who are so smart and they're planning all this shit. Good luck. Too many moving parts in life.
No, I don't think that. But I do think that the people who are in control, whether it be the government, which can contact Facebook, or whether it be the intelligence communities that say that the Hunter Biden laptop's bullshit when they know it's not. When you have situations where people have that kind of power and control over people, and it's through this digital realm that didn't exist before. So all the rules that you would apply to the First Amendment outside of that, everything gets real slippery. Like, this is a private corporation, and we can this is malinformation and misinformation. Malinformation is the craziest one, which is true information that may be detrimental or something.
Oh, is that
like
what it is?
Yeah. What is the actual definition of malinformation? But it's things that may be true. Like, they can deem something that is true malinformation. So you can have misinformation that's not true.
Let me ask you a question.
Here it is. Malinformation is truth used to inflict harm on a person, organization, or country. So phishing and catfishing, well, that's, but also just that term, truth that could be used to inflict harm?
Yeah. Well, mal in French means bad.
But how open to interpretation is that?
I don't know.
Doxing, swatting, and revenge porn. Oof. But how like open-ended is that? Like, what if you expose something in the federal government? Like, say, what if you're Julian Assange and you expose that collateral murder video, or you release those documents, the WikiLeaks documents?
Well, let me ask you something. I mean, maybe you and I and everybody else are being paranoid. So in other words, here's my question. Well, maybe it's not even a question, but you and I and a lot of us complain about these things. We worry about the fact that there's a lot of disinformation, misinformation, that the government's controlling this, and that big tech is this, that, and the other thing. But sometimes I wonder if I'm just being paranoid, and sometimes I wonder if I'm in an echo chamber, and sometimes I wonder that because look, man, I'm on the Joe Rogan Experience. I don't know how many people listen to this. I can say whatever the fuck I want, and people listen. And that could be British welders. That could be. I was in Israel, and an Ethiopian guy said to me as he's helping me with my bag in the airport in Israel. He goes, "Do you come from Joe Rogan?" And I was like, "I do come from him. I come from his rib." I'm glad you asked. Yes, I come from his fucking rib. That's in. And I can on YouTube. I can confirm my bias all day long. I can find politicians and thinkers who believe everything I believe in. And so sometimes I wonder, man, and look, as far as Hunter Biden, they tried to get away with a lot of stuff with that laptop. They tried to do all kinds of stup. And all we're talking about now is all the shit on that laptop. Mm-hmm. And it's all been exposed. And I promise you, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, I promise you, are thinking about this all the time, because they're realizing it's a shitstorm that's just beginning. Mark my words. So while all of us are complaining the legacy media doesn't cover this and stuff like that, but guess what? The Justice Department's going to do their job.
Yes,
I'm
agreed.
just saying.
However, it's very disappointing that legacy media doesn't cover it. And the reason they don't cover it, because they think it's going to empower the narrative that Donald Trump is a superior president. If their narrative was always that Donald Trump is corrupt, then also there's real clear evidence that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden got how many millions of dollars? Yeah, like $11 million. He made $11 million. He has his law degree. Now hold on for a sec. He worked for Burisma, which was and I think he had some affiliations with some Chinese energy companies. And of course Hunter Biden, he paints and he has a law degree. But Burisma, I guess, paid him $11 million over a period of, I think, I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 years, and maybe even less. Because they needed his expertise on energy and on natural gas, apparently. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage should play him in a movie.
That's such a good call.
That's such a good call.
That's such a good call.
That should be the next Tarantino movie.
Driving 170 miles an hour. Woo!
Smoking crack. getting a foot job.
I mean, by the way, he'd be kind of fun to hang with.
Oh my God, he'd be fun to hang with.
I mean, he's the dark side.
Yeah, that dude went hard.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what you say.
And I have sympathy
respect.
for an addict. I mean, he was an addict. You know?
Yes, he was an addict, and his dad's the fucking president. His brother's dead. Like, there's so much trauma.
His sister, his mom.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he went through some shit. So it's not surprising that he had to wrestle with some stuff, and hopefully now he's sober. And
well, we all know addicts, and there's something about the particular. Like, I know one that. I haven't seen him in forever, but he always had a coke problem. And he was a really talented, really funny guy. But he would go hard.
Hard, dude.
Hard.
Yeah. Like
vanish for
see
days.
You in 3 days. Yeah.
Vanish.
Yep.
Just vanish. Come back, look like wet cardboard. He looks so bad. He looks so dead.
Well, how about that cocaine that they found in the White House, and apparently they couldn't trace it back in the most secure building in the world. In the most secure building in the world, by the way, because there are no cameras anywhere.
You know what's
they
a crazy
couldn't figure it out,
coincidence?
and the press stopped asking questions.
You know what's a crazy coincidence? Hunter Biden was there that weekend.
Stop it.
He was there.
Yeah,
and
but
they tried to say he wasn't. The White House press secretary said that he had left, but he left on Friday.
It's adorable.
He was there on Friday.
It's adorable. They made it go away, and nobody asked any more questions.
That White House press secretary, if she was Pinocchio.
I think you can say that with any White House president.
But
it's
that
the hardest
poor lady,
job in the
she
world.
has to lie every day. That is her job.
I
I
know.
feel for her.
So do I.
And she tries to do the political things
I know.
with the hands.
I feel bad for her.
And we don't talk about personal affairs.
She's just the messenger, and people
It's
hate
a
her.
terrible job. Everybody
know.
hates her. I bet she's a nice lady.
I guarantee it.
My favorite is Kaylee McEnany, though. She was the best.
Yeah, she was.
The best. She's the GOAT. She's the GOAT. She came with receipts.
There are alternative
She was
facts.
always prepared.
Yeah.
She always knew exactly what the actual facts were and
Yeah.
how they were wrong.
Yeah.
She just shut them down right in front of their face.
Amazing.
Big smile on her face.
Yeah,
She's the best. She's an assassin.
an
The
assassin.
greatest one of those ever. But I feel like that's a gig you can only do for like 9 months or you lose your fucking
You start
mind.
dying. Yeah.
Like they all stop doing it after a
Yeah.
while.
Write a book. Go write a
Yeah.
book. Just be like, hey, by the way, I was bullshitting.
Yeah. After a while, it's just like,
That's how I feel about Chris Cuomo. I know Chris. Chris is, people make fun of Chris is a dude, and I will guarantee in his mind, like he got a good gig. It was great. But in his mind, he's like, thank God I don't have to do that shit anymore.
Yeah.
Like, fuck yeah. If
How do you know him? What do you know him from?
I've known him. I knew him in New York. He's real good friends with Patty.
Patrick Bet David likes him.
Oh, I love him.
Said he's a really nice
No,
guy.
he's a. Trust me on this. Chris Cuomo is a real dude, and he's one of us, and you'd fucking love him.
So you think he just got trapped doing that stupid show?
Yes, he got trapped. Talk to him. Have him on the podcast. Great sense of humor. Very self-deprecating.
What are you, his
Doesn't think
agent?
he's cool.
What are you, his
No, I
agent?
just like him. I haven't talked to him in a long, long time, but I like Chris, and
How come you don't talk to him if you like him?
I keep in touch through Patty, and we just.
I tell you, I
what's
ran into
up?
Patty on an elevator.
No.
Yes.
Oh yeah, she told
in
me.
New York City. Just
I just had
fucking
dinner with her.
Complete dumb luck.
I love her.
I'm going to play pool.
Yeah.
And Patty walks into the elevator and we just make eye contact.
We're talking about Patty Jenkins, who directed
Monster.
Wonder Woman 1, 2, Monster.
Yeah.
She's
Monster's a
killer.
masterpiece.
Oh,
Monster is such a masterpiece.
I know.
It's so good.
she's one of my favorite people, man.
Charlize Theron. You want to talk about going hard?
It's my favorite performance of all time.
That lady went hard.
It's my favorite performance.
All I could think about was how crazy must she be? I think she could pull this monster out of her.
I've
kind of
I've hung out with her a couple
Demons are
times.
inside of her.
I've
that
hung
she
out
could
with
pull
her.
that monster out of her.
Very normal, but she had a hell of a life childhood. You know about that, right? Okay. I think it's public.
Well, let's not
Yeah.
take a
Yeah.
chance.
She went through some
But
stuff.
goddamn, that performance is insane. And to be that hot and make yourself that fucking
Oh
gross.
my God. Gained weight and all.
I know, man. What other female like bombshell actress has ever done that?
I know.
Because Christian Bale's done that a bunch of times. He did it for The Machinist, where he got down to nothing, and then he did Dick Cheney, where he got real fat.
He's incredible.
He's incredible.
He's on another level.
And Robert De Niro famously did it in Raging Bull.
Well, that's my second favorite. My first favorite performance is Charlize Theron in Monster. My second favorite performance of any actor is De Niro in Raging Bull. And he was the first actor ever to do that. He gained, I think, 66 pounds. And he's got a frame like me. He's very thin and not a tall guy. And gained 66 pounds And no one had seen anything like that. No
And
one.
he was shredded.
Oh, yeah.
When he played
Jake
LaMotta, he was shredded. See, find De Niro from that movie. Do you know how hard and this is like pre-steroid days. Do you know how hard you have to train to look as good as he looked?
Unbelievable.
For as long as he looked. And this guy is an actor.
I know.
I mean, Robert De Niro was an actor.
Yep.
He was not like a fucking pro boxer who entered into acting.
He boxed. He was always in the gym, apparently.
He looked fucking great.
Yep.
He looked great in that movie.
Yep. Had the same mentality. And
Yeah,
everything.
look at him.
God.
He was just
prosthetic
a
nose.
fucking animal. When that guy would dive into a role, he was a fucking animal.
Fuck, he was
He was
amazing.
so good. He was so good. Go back and watch Taxi Driver.
What about that guy?
Holy shit.
I mean, come on.
Holy shit, was he good.
Mean Streets, Taxi Driver.
What was the Juliette Lewis movie? The fucking...
Oh, Awakenings? No,
no, the one where he played
Cape Fear.
Cape Fear.
Dude.
Holy
Remember how
shit.
shredded he was in that?
Holy shit.
He worked out with Lee Haney for that.
Did he really?
Yeah, Lee Haney.
Find
was his trainer.
Robert De Niro in Cape Fear doing chin-ups.
Oh,
Remember he was doing
God.
chin-ups? That was such a creepy movie. That's a movie you could never make today.
No.
You could fucking never make
Look
that
at
movie
him.
today.
Look at him.
Yeah.
And the hair. Come on, when you were our age, like when you were young like that, remember how we were just like, I want to be an actor. I want to do that shit.
I know. Everybody wanted to be
Everybody.
De Niro after Cape Fear. He was so good. It was such a creepy role,
Look
too.
at that. With Stalin in the background. Look at that.
That's everyone's fear. You fuck someone over and they go to jail and then they get out and kill you.
Oh, fuck. Look at him.
And then you get out and then this guy.
He was so good.
He was so good, dude.
That and how about him in Heat? Look at how that's how you should always look.
And he was just a fucking
I want that hair. I want that
insane
fucking hair.
at how he could capture a role. Like, you didn't ever think that was Robert De Niro.
No.
You thought whoever the fuck he was playing in that movie, that's who he was.
Look at the way he walks.
Yeah. Great
That,
fucking.
you say you don't want hair. I want that hair.
Do you?
Yeah, I want thick black hair. I can comb back just once in my life to see what it's like.
No.
I
love it.
You do that. I want to
I like
comb
massaging my
with
head.
oil. I want to do this with oil, and I want to fucking comb
You
it
want
hard.
Patrick Bet David hair?
Yeah, but I want stupid fucking. I want to look like a fucking, like a chimp. I want hard muscles and I
And a
want
long
bad
mane.
tattoos.
And a long mane.
And I want to smell like bad cologne.
Have Jesus saves on your knuckles.
Fuck yeah. And I'm going to carry a small pocket Bible. Yeah, and I want to be able to recite verse. I hate myself. Sorry.
You okay?
All right. Yeah, I'm good.
You went down a weird road there, buddy.
Yeah, I get excited about
Thought
that
we
shit. That
lost
brings
you.
me back, bro.
Yeah. It's that kind of acting is such a different. There's so many like levels of it, like sitcom acting, there's TV show acting, and then there's this like, what the fuck did you just do acting?
Yeah, I think that kind of acting, like Christian Bale, I think said, I don't like that I make believe and I wear makeup, so I got to do something that makes me feel manly, like starve myself or just feel, you know.
Is Daniel Day-Lewis totally done with acting? He's just making shoes now or something?
No, he was a cobbler. He apparently took 3 years to become a fucking
He
cobbler.
wanted to make shoes.
Yeah, I think he's still acting. I think it pulls him back in.
Really? I thought he
Yeah.
retired.
No, like him in Gangs of New York was some
Oh my
crazy
God.
shit.
How about There Will Be Blood?
I mean, this is another guy.
Yeah.
This is another dude who said, I'm just embarrassed at being a middle class, boring Englishman. So I do just crazy shit. And I wear other people's clothes, say other people's words, and that's what I do. And whatever it takes me to get there, I do. And, you know, I'll fucking wear that outfit, not take a shower for 5 days, and it just gets me in character. You can keep all that shit, by the way. You can keep all of it, okay? Acting like salad. Never ate a salad where I didn't want it to be over. Every time I eat a salad, I feel like a fucking coward. I'm like, I'm eating salad because apparently it'll keep cancer away. It's the only reason I ever eat any vegetables. I hate all vegetables. And acting, I've never been on a set, I'm sorry to say this out loud, where I didn't want to be off, where I didn't want to be done. But
Bryan Callen trying to get work. I see what you're doing. You're playing that hard to get thing.
Yeah, is that what I'm doing?
Yeah, that's what you're doing.
I'll stick to stand-up, bro. I got enough.
There Will Be
that's hard
Blood.
enough.
Gangs in New York and There Will Be Blood. Two of the all-time greats.
God,
I didn't see Lincoln.
look at him in Lincoln. He
I
looks
didn't
so much
see it.
like Lincoln.
Was that Lincoln movie any good?
Well, I did a movie with a guy who was in that, had a substantial role.
Yeah.
And I said, what was it like to work with Daniel Day-Lewis? And he said, well, And I went, uh-huh. And he goes, no, it's just that, he wouldn't answer any questions that, that didn't occur after 1865. He wasn't going to talk to you about today.
Yeah. It's like at the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
When someone breaks character and the other lady said, what art thou talking about?
Yeah. You could only speak to him and as literally as Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
And in fact, then my buddy came in and said, I'm sorry about all that nonsense in Cincinnati. And Danny Day-Lewis was like, yes, well, we're going to work on that. And that was how it was, dude. He's staying character.
You're talking to Abraham Lincoln, period.
Yeah, there's no craft services like, bro, how you doing? No, I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to hold that character for 3 months. Well, I did Joker, and I worked with Joaquin Phoenix.
Same thing.
I was in the room with him for 5 days, and when he came, I think to said he was 100 and when he was walking around, he was 180 pounds or something, and I think Todd Phillips said something like, I think the character should be kind of skinny. Just kind of said it, casually, like I think. And Joaquin, I think, showed up at 124 pounds. And then they were like, let's just give you this guy's got inhuman discipline. They go, let's give you a nutritionist and everything else. And he said, no, it's okay. He just ate an apple and smoked cigarettes. And when we were on set, he never looked at you. He never looked at you. And at one point, I went like this. I had a scene. If you blink, I'm out of it. But I had a bunch of lines that didn't make it. But I go like this. I go, what'd you do? Take a gun and blow your head off? And I mimicked it, and I put it in my mouth. I'm like that. And when I did that, I fell back. I did that twice. On the second time, he fell straight back. He fell straight back and landed like he would just improvise and do crazy shit where you didn't know if he was going to even hurt himself. Remember when he punches the clock? Mm-hmm. That's not in the script. He just punched that clock off the wall, and Todd thought he broke his hand. That was not on the script. When I saw, the bus scene where he can't stop laughing? Mm-hmm. I saw them shooting that when I got to set. I swear to God, I saw him walking, and I knew he was going to win an Oscar. It was that good. And I looked at Todd and I go, holy shit. He goes, you have no idea, dude. It was like when I saw The Fighter, Christian Bale in The Fighter. Remember that opening scene? I went, oh, you're going to win an Oscar in this. I don't know. You could see it. You're a crack addict, and you're an ex-boxer. Mm-hmm. You see one frame and you go, well, this is something different is happening here. It was the same thing with him. But I watched him for, I think it was 4 or 5 days I was there. And I've never seen somebody be able to hold that concentration and that kind of character for that long. Wow. I was like, I could never do that. I don't want to do that. That's not fun to be around.
That was a spooky movie because I was like, this is like too close to reality.
Masterpiece, bro.
And then right after that, you have the BLM riots and the COVID riots and all that stuff happened afterwards.
I know. Have you met Todd Phillips,
no.
who writes and directs those movies?
No.
You need to meet him.
I'd love to meet him.
He's one of my favorite people in the world.
I love The Hangover.
Oh, he's such a special dude. You should have him on the podcast. I think you'd love him, man. He grew up like in a 1-bedroom apartment with his mom in New York. And I think he's just a fucking genius. He gave me notes on a script I wrote once, and I was like, "Oh, that's why you're a genius."
Isn't it funny that we like people better if they grew up in a 1-bedroom apartment with their mom?
With chaos.
I feel like he grew up in a mansion in Park City, Park City, Utah, just overlooking the slopes.
Yeah. Well, lack of comfort. You didn't have an easy childhood.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I didn't.
I
think it's a superpower. I don't want it for my kids.
I know. That's the rub, though.
Horrible. It's interesting. But I feel like kids that are loved for whatever reason do get a certain ambition from their parents, and also they recognize work ethic. My kids work really hard at stuff that they do, and I think a lot of it is because my wife works really hard at stuff she likes to do, and I work really hard at stuff I like to do, and they see that I work hard. And they know that I have like multiple jobs.
Yeah, maybe part of it's also genetic. You either have that constitution or you
I think it's genetic with one of my daughters. Because one of my daughters is a complete psycho and just like super driven towards things. Like tries to do things and she gets better and better and better and better and better at them, like physical things. I think that's genetic. But it's interesting because she comes from like, instead of like needing attention, she comes from this loving household. Where she gets all this love, so she has confidence.
And her feet are on the ground.
And she has happiness. She's like, but she's also crazy driven. Where when I was driven, it was like, I want to figure out a way where I'm not a loser. Yeah. Like I have to make something out of myself because I feel like a loser. Like, it wasn't from a place of healthiness. Like, just,
No.
I love exciting things and getting better at them. It wasn't that. It was like, I'm obsessed with this thing because this is the first time in my life where I didn't feel like a loser.
Well, that's that Jungian notion of the shadow. Like, you have two selves, right? You have your yourself and then your hidden self. The idea that, you know, there's all your insecurities and that boy that I've been trying to run away from forever. That skinny boy who is full of shame and full of fear, and you know, I don't want anybody to see that boy. You know, that's somebody I always hide with something else, right? With bravado or with whatever this thing is that I, you know, this armor.
Construct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that part of what helps you as an artist or even as a person is to bring that boy with you. You know, bring that shadow with you, because there's a strength in that. There's an honesty in it. You know, I'm not interested in trying to present as something I'm not. I am also that other thing. There's a lot of strength in that boy who's skinny and
well, there's a
full
lot of
of shame.
strength in desire, right?
Oh, fuck
Desire
yeah.
for improvement and change. And that's also some of the things that come off of failure, right? You have this desire to never experience that again. That's a big one with stand-up. When you bomb,
Oh my God.
or if you lose in a fight, both those things are true. Because like, you just like, oh my God, I never want that to happen again. And then you become far more dedicated. You have to have those moments where the realization of effort to reward, like what's the real formula? Am I lying to myself on this formula? Am I going to 6 and I'm telling everybody I go to 9? Like what is actually really happening? And the only way you really find out is by attempting to do things. No matter what you're trying to do, whether it's trying to put together a stand-up set, whether you're trying to get better at jiu-jitsu, whether you're doing gymnastics, whatever it is, the only way to know whether you're doing enough and doing it the right way is to see your improvement when it's tried.
That's right.
When it's tested and tried.
That's what's so great about stand-up. And
amazing.
And the challenge of being original, surprising yourself, never goes away. It's why I'm so addicted to it. It's why, like, I'm more excited about stand-up now at 56 than I've ever been.
It's fun.
Thank God,
It's
dude.
fun, and it's a beautiful exchange. Like, it's a beautiful exchange for me as an audience member. I love the exchange of watching someone on stage kill, and I laugh so hard. I feel great. It's like a beautiful drug that you get when you're laughing really hard. It's my favorite thing to do.
Yep.
Like last night, we all went out with Patrick Bet David's crew, and
Love
it was
him.
and it was me, Asan Iman, Derek Poston, and Brian Simpson just sitting across from each other, just howling, laughing,
great.
talking, and drinking margaritas.
That's a
and-
huge part of stand-up, man. That's what you've
Yes.
created in Austin. We don't. It's not as much that in LA.
The hang is
The
so
hang, dude.
important. It's so
New York
important.
has that. Austin has that.
LA used to have that. We
It
used to have
used
it at the Comedy Store.
Yeah, in the parking lot.
Yeah, the parking lot, and then the back bar, the back comics bar was always amazing.
Yeah, but you've done that with the mothership. I need to come out
well,
and do that.
what we did is just take all the best elements that we saw in the store and the ethic behind the store. And that's the reason why the bar's named Mitzi's.
Yep.
You know, it's in homage to Mitzi Shore.
Yep. I'm doing Cap Cities. But
Paulie came, dude.
come and-
Paulie
he's
was
great.
so funny.
I love him.
I hadn't seen Paulie on stage in years, and he was so funny. He was so loose,
How great is that?
and he's been working. He's been working a lot. But
he's really matured. I did a podcast with him.
Yeah, he's a
And I
sweetheart.
I
He's a
love him.
sweetheart. He really is.
Yep.
I'm always happy to see him now. He lives in Vegas now.
I know.
Vegas has a real comedy scene, man. Vegas has multiple comedy clubs now. There's like a scene of guys. There's a lot of guys moved from L.A. to Vegas.
He hangs with Nick Cage. He told me.
Yeah, it's his homie. Yeah.
It's kinda random.
Yeah, he sent me videos of him and Nick Cage together.
Do you ever get starstruck with the celebrities you know now?
Sometimes, yeah. I
Like
ran
who?
into Axl Rose in Greece.
That's
That was
crazy.
a wild one.
Stop.
See, this is what happened. I was with my friend Brian Murarescu. He's the guy who wrote The Immortality Key, that amazing book on the Eleusinian mysteries in Greece. And it just so happened that when my family and I were in Greece, he was in Greece. And so we all met up, and he gave us a tour of
Wow.
Ulysses, and he gave us
Parthenon and all that.
the Parthenon. He explained, like, we went to the museum, the Parthenon Museum is explaining everything to us. It was
Cradle of
amazing.
democracy, yeah.
Amazing. So anyway, we were at this restaurant and we were eating. It's, late at night. We're having fun. And he goes to the bathroom and he comes back and he goes, Axl Rose is here. I go, no way. And he goes, yeah, he's right over there. Like, as you're leaving, you have to see him. I'm like, oh, shit. So I get anxiety because when I'm leaving, I'm like, do I say hi? I kind of have to say hi. What if he doesn't know who I am?
Right, that'd be weird.
Oh, it was horrible, right? So he looked at me like he didn't know who I was, and he goes, oh, hey, dude. And then he shakes my hand. I'm like, thank you, baby Jesus. And then he starts telling me bits that he likes.
Really?
Yeah, he's telling me bits from me. He's asking me about my
so
Netflix
cool.
special. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is amazing.
Oh, my God.
So then he invites us to the show. So they're doing Guns N' Roses in Athens on that Saturday night. And we were going to be there Saturday night. We were leaving on Sunday morning. So it was perfect. Wow. So we saw 3 hours of Guns N' Roses in front of this massive stadium.
How are they?
Incredible. They did 3 fucking hours.
And people don't realize they can fill a stadium still, right?
And it was 95 degrees out.
And nobody gives a fuck.
They were dripping sweat. I mean, Slash was fucking banging that guitar out.
Look at that.
This is the video of me. I filmed this backstage. This is the end of the show. Give me some volume so you can hear it, because it's fucking incredible to hear the crowd. It says video has no sound. Oh, really?
Wow.
That's weird. I swear to God, it has sound on my phone.
Wow. Where is Axl?
Anyway, that's Axl is he's on the box. See him standing up there, and he got down.
And he cut his hair.
Yeah, dude is insane. It was insane. It was just so cool.
Yeah, of
to
course.
see Guns
Come
N'. The freakiest one for me still, though, is the Rolling Stones. When we went to see the Rolling Stones, we saw them at CODA, the Circuits of the Americas.
Yeah.
And I was standing there, and my friend was talking to me. I literally couldn't hear a word he was saying because I was so freaked out that Mick Jagger was right there. I was like, he's really right there.
And he was right in front of you, like you were.
No, it was a good amount of distance.
You were listening.
I was
to him.
seeing him.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that far away.
Yeah.
We were like 30 rows back or something.
Right.
But I'm like staring at Mick Jagger.
Piece of history.
He's fucking jamming too.
He's 80 years
Dancing.
old today.
He's as old as Biden.
Yeah.
He is. He's as old as Biden.
That's crazy.
It's amazing. And fucking show was fantastic. Fantastic.
Wow.
They played everything.
I know. And
They
his
won't
voice.
they don't play brown sugar anymore though.
Why?
Too dangerous.
Come on.
They won't play it.
Really?
Yeah. That's sad.
Just fucking
Such
play
a good
You're
song.
80, bro. Just what are you
Brown
gonna do?
Sugar.
Get canceled?
How come
Fuck
you
off.
taste so good?
Come on, man. That's an
Yeah.
homage.
It's a great song.
Great song.
And they played Shelter. They played all the classics.
Can't always get what you want. Which
all
I
the classics.
love.
All the classics.
Sympathy for the Devil.
Sympathy for the Devil. They played that.
The
played
only thing is
everything.
they stopped writing. They've kind of become a cover band of themselves.
Keith Richards
That's
played
okay.
a new song.
Yeah.
He played at least one new song.
Yeah.
I think he might have played 2. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's just how it has to be when you're around that long.
Yeah.
You kind of like if you go to see Guns N' Roses and they don't play Paradise City,
Yeah. Yeah.
they have to play Welcome to the Jungle. They have to play Patience.
When you're in Greece or places like that, do you get recognized
Yeah.
a lot?
It's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, right? To be in another country and realize that.
It's less than America,
Yeah.
but it's enough.
Yeah.
It happens
Yeah.
enough.
Podcasting celebrity is different though, because they listen to you so much that in a way you become they do know you.
Well, what's amazing is that everybody speaks English. There's so many people in other parts of the world that speak English as a second language, and they consume English stuff, whether it's movies and television shows or even podcasts. The world's, they're so much smarter than us. There's so many people that are bilingual in this world.
I know.
And in America, it's like, what are the numbers besides Latinos and immigrant populations in America that are bilingual? Like, what are the numbers? If you had to guess, let's just guess a percentage of America that's bilingual.
Oh, the percentage of America that's bilingual?
Let's guess.
30.
You think it's that high?
I mean, I'm wrong, but I'd say only because of the Spanish population. So let's say 20%.
Okay, I was going to say 18.
Yeah.
So let's think
And
of
it's probably even lower than
now.
that.
Let's say Spain.
Yeah, they all died.
70%.
Sure.
Okay, let's look. it
Israel,
up. Let's Google it.
everybody in Israel, and in Jordan, everyone spoke English.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about the Bedouins spoke English.
Yeah.
By the way, just very quickly, look it up. Now you like to hunt. All I'm going to say, I'm just going to say this.
What are you gonna say?
There is hunting in Jordan, in that desert, that will change your life.
You went hunting in Jordan?
I didn't, but I was talking to what they hunt, which is wild goat, which is deer, which is everything you can imagine, even wild hare, and they do a lot of hunting. And that desert is some of the most. I went to Wadi Rum, that's where they shot The Martian, and there's some of the most beautiful some of the most beautiful part. It's
Is
just,
that where they shot that movie?
Yes.
Martian?
Dude, Jordan is.
That's a great movie.
Jordan is so amazing. And I thought of you because this Bedouin guy was telling me how much they hunt because he was showing me pictures of the deer and everything. And I was like, what do you have? He goes, we have everything here. We have everything, and the hunting's unbelievable. And you do it year round. And like even pigeon, like even wood pigeon and stuff like that. Crazy shit.
Do you know pigeon was brought here for food?
That makes sense.
Yeah, all those pigeons that you see in New York City.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Squab.
It's
great.
That's what it is.
It was brought here.
Yeah.
From probably England or?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because in England you have a lot of wood pigeon.
Probably England.
I've eaten a lot of pigeon.
If you, there's parts of this country where people hunt pigeons still to this day. Like there's like seasons on pigeons, and pigeons apparently taste really good.
I think we should use your connections and get to the King of Jordan who lives in Malibu and shoots at Terran Tactical, and he's a great guy.
Shouldn't we go pigeon hunting instead?
No, listen to me. I'm going to use your
Why
celebrity.
shoot some pigeons?
If the King of Jordan is listening, I think we go. He loves to hunt. He's a man.
Will you learn how to shoot a bow?
I swear to God, I'll learn how to shoot a bow. I swear.
But it'll take a long time.
I'm a very athletic guy, and I'm a good student. You just teach me.
Remember the last time you tried to pull the bow back?
Shut up. I don't want to talk about that. I had a trick shoulder. You fucking asshole. I think it was an 80-pound bow. I was like,
bro, Andrew Schultz came into the back. He's never pulled a bow back before.
Yeah.
I showed him how to do it. I showed him how to line the peep sight, and he shot it right into the fucking bullseye at 40 yards.
He's a good basketball player. You see him play basketball? He's an athlete.
Very good. He can box too. You see him hit pads?
Let's not get carried away.
Don't get carried away. He can hit pads. Bro,
I've seen him hit pads. Yeah, I'm not giving him that.
He'll fuck you up.
Don't say that out loud.
He will fuck you up.
Because now I'm going to have to fight him, and I love him so much.
He's going to fuck you up. He's going to fuck you up. I love him too.
You're out of your mind.
He's going to fuck you up.
You're out of your mind.
He's going to pop you with that jab.
Him. Nope. You're going to get
me
riled up.
He's going to move like a real athlete, and you're going to panic. You're going to think about your joints and your ligaments.
Yeah, okay. You want to see me hit mitts?
I've seen you hit mitts.
I love Andrew.
Give me some volume.
Andrew's an athlete and stuff like that, but you better stop it right now.
Shut the fuck up.
He can play basketball.
I'm seeing Bryan Callen getting boxed up.
You're
right
out of
now.
your fucking
That's what I'm
mind.
saying.
You're out of your
boxed
mind.
Up.
You're out of your mind. But I love him.
You're getting boxed up.
You're getting me really riled up.
He's gonna box you up.
He's got good reach though. He's a big kid.
He's gonna fuck
and I
you
love
up. He's not hitting the mitts very hard, but he's gonna hit you hard.
No. All right, we'll see.
He's gonna hurt you, boy.
Let's go.
He's gonna fuck you up.
Give me some mitts. Fucking. Although I got a tweaked back. I slept wrong. I need a lot of time to warm up.
Hitting mitts.
Me too. I love boxing. I love sparring, but I had to stop. I was getting dizzy. I might go back. I went to Black House in they have a public Black House, and I went there literally yesterday. And I'm like, they have wrestling, they have jiu-jitsu, and they have Muay Thai classes. And I think I got to get back into it.
So fun. It's so fun.
I miss it.
I love hitting pads more than anything.
I love it.
Which I used to, whenever we do the UFC, I would get a chance to train with Mark Delagrate, and I was always trying to do is hurt his arms.
Well, you kick very hard.
I wanted to hurt his forearms.
Yeah, you did hurt his forearms. That's a great video. I've watched that video a lot.
All I was ever trying to do is just wanted to fucking take it in there.
You kick crazy hard, but you punch hard too. I'm surprised you don't want to spar because you don't want to get.
I don't want brain damage. No. I'm stupid enough.
I know. And plus, you're going to go full and.
Yeah. Well, it's just
the problem with boxing is that every time I'd get hit, and then the next day, or Wayne McCulloch used to laugh because I was like, all I want to do is even the score, and that's the problem. And then you start swinging, and everybody's hitting. Then you get
can't
hit.
have an ego with that, and you have to be able to train with people that can just pull it back.
Well, that's why you train with really good guys who are not going to hurt you.
Right, and you have to know they have to know you're not trying to hurt them, so they don't have to punish you either.
That's right.
Yeah, so
they always
you
say
have to have their respect.
That's like guys like that'll say, "I'll go as hard as you go."
Right.
It's like just be cool.
Perfect.
And you don't spar with pros, bro. Right. You move around with them.
Yes.
Don't say you spar with good amateurs. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You've never been hit. You're moving around, and they're being nice to you.
Yes.
They're going at a 5.
Yes. Like when you see, look at that, bro. You're getting fucked up.
You're getting me pissed off.
You're getting fucked up.
You're out of your fucking mind.
Fuck you up, dude. He's gonna fuck you
up.
Look
at him. I love him.
Yeah, it looks good.
He looks good.
I'm seeing you
He's not
in the
reaching.
ropes.
He's not reaching. He's got.
I'm seeing you in the corner
like
getting
little
lit
tight.
up like a Christmas tree.
You can shut the fuck
bing,
up.
Bing, bing.
Okay, good luck. Put all your money on me.
No, I told you I would bet on him.
All right, dude. Fucking ready now, man. My shoulders are getting loose.
Maybe you can be on the undercard.
I'm just fucking. I'm off the center line.
You be the undercard of Bradley Martin and Mighty Mouse Johnson.
I'm going to Philly. I'll work with those guys. I love that. I went to that gym. Fucking, what is that name? Percy Custis, and I went to Bernard Hopkins' old gym.
Whoa.
And where Julian J. Rock Williams.
Did you take a lot of
boxes.
Instagram photos?
I did. I shot it, and I was my boy Coach Anthony, who I love. He's got a great YouTube channel. Shout out to Coach Anthony, and he held mitts for me. And he's a great coach, and I watch his videos, and I just wanted.
Let me see
I
you
wanted
hit
to
the
be
mitts
there.
after I saw Schultz hit the mitts. Let's see the difference. Where's the video you
I
hitting
don't
the
know if I
mitts?
have any video.
Come on, bitch. You know you got
I
something.
really don't. I don't.
Let me see the difference. I want to compare. Compare
I'm
technique.
better.
You think so?
Yeah. What do you mean? Do I think so?
I just want to know. Here you go.
That's my boy Tariq Azim.
Not
right
bad.
there.
Yeah, you hit a little harder than him, that's for sure.
Oh, do you think? Because I was really sparring.
What do you mean you're sparring? You're hitting the mitts.
I was
That's not
but I
sparring.
was. That was when I was actually getting in the gym, and Tariq would teach me shit, and I go back to the gym, and it was beautiful. That fucking dude knows how to. That was Gilbert Melendez. He trained all those guys. That's Tariq.
I know he is.
Yeah, it's great.
Bryan Callen.
There's my coach Anthony. This is, by the way, when I'm 56 and I hadn't hit mitts in forever. This is
Yeah,
in
I'm
that
not as
Philly
impressed
gym.
now.
No, because I
Much
was
less
old. I was
impressed.
old, dude.
How old were you in the other one? 30?
Shut up. I just.
What happened
this
to your
is
hands?
2 years
Did
ago.
you break both your hands?
I was warming up here because I didn't want to pull. I don't want to pull anything, so I was just moving around a little bit. Plus, I had
You're
real
already
boxers.
tired.
I had real boxers.
You're
watching
already
me.
tired. You're exhausted.
This is find out what that gym is. Fuck, what is that gym where Percy Custis is? I got to give him a shout out. It's in Philly, South Philly. Fuck. Or West Philly. I'm sorry, West
Bryan
Philly.
Callen learning how to box for real.
Listen, man, this is me just moving around.
Do you have any desire to do other stuff like jiu-jitsu?
Yes, and I want to box some more.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Bourdain started jiu-jitsu when he was 58.
I know. I actually secretly do a little wrestling.
Secretly?
Yeah.
Not so secret anymore, you
I
fucking
know. My
big
buddy,
mouth.
I do some Greco and I do some Russian.
What do you do?
I do Russian. Like I do. I'll just move around a little bit, takedowns. It's kind of
Yeah.
stupid. Yeah, but I love it.
It's fun.
Like
Drills.
Hegan Machado was teaching me a lot of.
Shout out to Hegan.
The best. I love that guy.
I love that guy.
And Hegan would teach me a lot of like 2-on-1, those Russian arm ties and things
Mm-hmm.
like that, and a series after that. Everything's a series, right? And that's great because for me as a wrestler, duck unders and arm drags. There's a whole series you can do off that, and I like that stuff. I don't want to be diving in for a double and singlet. I'm too old.
Well, yeah, you don't want to get hurt, but
No.
you can still train. You can still train. Specifically, if you train jiu-jitsu with the gi, with people
Yeah.
who know what they're doing. Like,
Yes.
there's guys that are in their fucking 60s that roll all the time.
Yes,
All
and
the
I
time.
love it. I will do that. If I could find the time, to be honest with you, but I got kids and
Yeah,
it's
I get
hard.
it. I get it. You got to pick your poison.
Yeah.
You got to pick your distractions and your hobbies and stuff. That's why I won't fuck with golf. I saw you and Jamie out there whacking that golf ball around. I'm like, you can keep that.
I know.
That one sucks.
You
up too
especially.
Much time.
You
Yeah.
can't because you'll get crazy. I know you. You're a fucking maniac.
It looks
that
like
way.
too much fun. It looks the people that do it all love it.
No, dude.
They can't wait
but
to get out and play.
because you love pool and you love archery, those kinds of skill sets where it's like all about your mind and stuff, you would obsess over it.
Yeah, I'm sure it would.
Yeah.
I see Jamie. He's out there whacking that fucking ball every day.
It's my dad. It's
On the
my dad at
simulation?
83 years old. I love my father because at 83,
Oh, it's DJ
DJ
Khaled.
Khaled's gotten into golf. He's like making everything he does goes viral.
he's hilarious.
He's having a great time. He thinks he can go pro,
No, he can't.
but he's not bad.
Wedge.
But he
Got the guy
can't.
on the green, I call this wedge.
He's the best. Look
Less
at him.
up.
So if he's not good enough to be pro, like how good is he? Is he good like Santino good? Santino's supposed to be really good, right?
He's not as good as
He's
Santino.
still in first year.
Yeah.
How good is Santino?
I don't know, but Santino, I think, is like.
Isn't he
He's
is he a
three-
scratch golfer?
Not quite 3.
That's
Almost a
crazy
scratch
good.
golfer?
That's crazy good to be too. But like my father at 83 came in the other day, and this is what I love about him. Literally came in and goes, "I figured out what I was doing wrong." And I go, "What?" He goes, "I wasn't moving my." And he had just had a lesson. And he was like, "I got it." That's how obsessed he is with golf.
At 83.
You gotta love that.
Yeah.
You gotta
Well,
love it.
That's the same thing with pool. It's like the reason why why does people waste their time playing that? Because every time you make a shot, it requires all of your concentration.
Yes.
It requires, and the more you can keep it together and run out rack after rack after rack, you get this like euphoric mindset.
Yes.
It just like locks you into the task.
I think it forces you to overcome your liabilities. I think it actually forces you to somehow contend with the things that are holding you back.
Well, your liabilities during shots, like whether it's an archery shot or a pool shot, are distractions, doubts, fear.
Yes.
There's a lot of
Yes.
things. Not concentrating on the task. But if you can just block all that out and just purely concentrate on the task, it's like a form of meditation.
That's right. That's right.
Particularly archery, I think, because it's the same sort of position. You're in the same position every time.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time you draw back, your shoulders relaxed, your back is taut, you're on the string, you're just gently pulling through that trigger. It's the same position every time.
Yeah.
And you're trying to hit this thing, with me it's 73 yards. I'm trying to hit this thing that's this big. And it's just...
Yeah.
And to do it right, you cannot be thinking about anything else.
Right.
It all goes away.
Right.
And there's like a mind cleansing aspect to that.
Yes. I agree 100%. I talked to John Dudley about that. I went to Andy Stump's wedding, and
Yeah.
John's a giant.
He's
What
a giant.
stud. Talk about being built well, just a natural athlete, you know?
Yeah, he's a great guy
And
too. And he's a masterful archery instructor.
I guess he is.
Masterful.
Because I was kind of asking him about the principles around it, and I realized very quickly that this guy could probably talk to you for a year before you even picked up a bow about his philosophy around it. You know?
Oh yeah, no, he teaches archery, so he has like the most extensive video collection. If you go to Knock On Archery on YouTube, it's Knock On like NOCK. It's the most extensive like archery instructionals that you could get anywhere, and the best instruction you can get everywhere. He does it perfectly. He teaches you perfect form. He gives you like exactly what you need to do to tune your arrows and tune your bow, and
Wow.
I mean, and he puts it all up there for free.
Well, I think I've said this before. I think if you really want to get to know yourself, get really good at least one thing. Just get really good at one
Yeah.
thing, because what it takes to get really good at that one thing forces you to confront the things that are holding you back in general. And I don't know what those are, but everybody has them. You know, everybody has hang-ups. Everybody has insecurities. Everybody has, you know, even resentments. You know, like it's really hard to go through life without having some resentment for people. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the most valuable things to do is to be able to let go of those people with love. Like, I know it sounds hokey. But
Listen to Jesus over here.
I know, right? This is there's a book called The Tools. You ever see that the Stutz that
No.
oh fuck. Jonah Hill had his therapist. He did a documentary about his therapist. His therapist when his therapist was 9 years old, his brother died of cancer, his 3-year-old brother. And his parents were both atheists, and his parents had nothing to fall back on. So he ended up being his parents' therapists.
Oh Jesus.
And by the time he became a therapist, it was a joke for him. He was like, I've been doing this my whole life. And what was really interesting about the book and also about the documentary is that then at 30, he gets Parkinson's. And it's debilitating. And so he has to contend, he's now 75, and he has to contend with his mortality. And one of the things that he found, the most frustrating thing about psychoanalysis, was this idea that I can tell you, we can find out where, after talking for a long time, where your anxiety comes from. Your dad did this, or your uncle did this, whatever it might be. You can find the causes, maybe. We can expose those. But now what do we do about it? Just because you know why doesn't mean you know what to do about it. So you've got anxiety, or you've got this self-limiting, you know, you've got this self-saboteur, or whatever it might be, or you have this depression. Well, what do you do about that? You know, I can prescribe medication, but sometimes that doesn't work. And he created these things called tools, you know, which I have to say at 56, read the book, and I really, really found it useful, and I found it enjoyable. But one of the things he talks about is the idea of, and it's a Christian notion, but it's also, it just makes total sense. If you hold on to resentment for people, you're turning your back on your future. You know, you're fighting with them. You're still fighting with them in one way or another. That's a weird thing to hold on to. And I think that it's really important to, however you can do it, to move on from that. But if you move on from that, like wishing for their destruction and stuff, I don't think that works as well. I think better is to kind of just realize, hey, whatever you're going through, I forgive you. I forgive whatever it is, and I'm going to move on from there. And actually actively do that. And you can do that through meditation. You know, he's got these these things where you do that, and there's a meditative way to do it. But I think that's pretty powerful. I think it's very helpful because it allows you to move on from the things that are holding you back.
It's also practical.
It's practical.
You only have so much energy.
Yes.
You have so much time and so much concentration.
You had to do that.
Yeah,
You
have to
told me
learn
your
how to do that.
biggest accomplishment was peace of mind. I always think about that.
Yes.
That's a big thing.
You got to learn how. Well, the way I always talk about it is that I think of my mind as bandwidth. Like I have 100 units of bandwidth. And anytime I'm spending time on something that's nonsense or not constructive or not beneficial, it's stealing from the amount of bandwidth that I would have to writing a new bit or concentrating on something I love to do or being with my family or friends. Like anytime you've got some stuff stealing from you, you got to figure out a way to push that out. Like you don't need it. You do not need to be dwelling on some.
Did you read a book about that, or did you just come
Figured
to that?
it out.
You did?
Yeah, I figured it out. I figured out. I always figure out like what makes me feel bad. Like what is it about like what I've said or what someone said to me or what I've done or what someone's done to me. Like what makes me feel bad, and then how much of that could have been preventable. How much of that is? How much of it can I mitigate? How much of it is necessary? And when you think about like disputes with people in particular, where some people just hold grudges and disputes forever. It's just thievery. You're stealing from yourself. You're stealing from your time.
Yes.
And
fuck, that's so important, though. It's such an important thing to understand.
Yeah, the best revenge is to live your life well.
Yeah. Just accomplish it.
Yeah, just live your life well. Yeah. And then let that poor person who keeps dwelling, let him hold on to that.
Yeah, and also nobody gives a fuck about. The universe is going to treat you unfairly. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. You can dwell on that, worry about it, or you can get to work.
Yeah, just go to work.
Yeah.
And you can do amazing things with your life if you can just figure out what to concentrate on. The people that fuck their life up, they waste so much time concentrating on bullshit. And you just don't have time for things that you really love if you do that.
I know.
And that's just a cold, hard, pragmatic approach to thought management. And I had to figure that out on my own. I figured that out. But it's just uniquely me. I would think about like one of the ones that was like early on that I realized was jealousy. That I would have jealousy over if a comic did really well or if their career was doing
That was your
well.
competitive nature.
Yes. And I realized that. I remember that when I was like 21 years old, when I was at an open mic night and I was hoping that someone bombed. And I remember thinking, wow, what a weak thought.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Seeing someone die.
But it was like I didn't have a framework and a structure like I did with martial arts. So it was like applying like competitive drive to an artistic endeavor where actually the people that are really good are supremely beneficial. They're not bad for you. They're really good for you.
They're inspiring.
They're inspiring, and it's also there's a camaraderie to it that's beautiful, and you learn how to do it from both observing and practicing, and then the level that you're around makes you raise your own level up. Like if
it
you go
puts
to a
you
club,
on notice. You're like, I got to get to work.
100%. And then I realized that, and I got past that. But I realized these are like these kind of weaknesses that are just inherent to human character. It's inherent to human desires and ego and your thoughts about yourself and what you deserve versus what you're getting. And there's especially with young people, there's this like frantic rush for success, and you think that somehow or another, if someone else does well, it takes away from you because you're not winning. They're winning.
Right.
You're like, God damn it, I fucking hate that dude. So there's a thing that people can get trapped doing, and they can do that with all sorts of aspects of their life. It's just a waste of energy.
What's funny is that you have to keep reminding yourself of that because you can fall right back into that. It's not that you don't master anything.
Right.
Like it's like I'm finally here, and I have no demons to fight, and I have no habits to overcome anymore. I have arrived, my child.
That's a serial killer.
Yeah, that's a serial killer. That shit doesn't exist. That's like what's funny? I've also been thinking about this too. Is the idea that you better be careful when you do hit the top of the mountain, because that's when the devil comes. Sorry to get biblical on you again. I'm getting fucking biblical, but that's when the devil starts whispering in your ear.
What does he say?
Well, I'll tell you what he says. He goes like this. He goes, you know what? You're not just God's favorite. You might be God. And you know what? go ahead and slap Chris Rock. I know it's the Oscars, but you can get away with it. You know what? Wear a sock over your face and say you love Hitler. You can do it because you're special. And we see it. Everybody can fall when you're at the top of that pinnacle. You can start to say, you know what? The laws of the universe don't apply to me, and I'm going to push shit. And that's when the gods go, ha, look at this motherfucker. He thinks he's one of us. He thinks he's one of us. He forgot he's human. And that apparently, I don't know if this is true, but Denzel Washington whispered in Will Smith's ear. I like Will Smith, but he whispered in Will Smith's ear. He said, the devil comes to us at our highest moment, And Mike Tyson said that too. You ever see Mike Tyson talking to Francis Ngannou? Mike Tyson said, "You're special, man. I'm watching you knock people out. You know what that means? It means you're one of God's favorites." And Francis went, "Wow." And he goes, "Here's the bad news. You're one of the devil's favorites too. Ooh. And you got to leave with the guy you came with, because he's looking to take you home too." And it's like, damn, Mike, dropping fucking knowledge.
Ooh.
Right?
You know he's training Francis Ngannou for the Tyson Fury fight?
That's crazy. Is he?
Yeah.
That old school, that customato, that old school.
I mean, I don't know how much he's going to change his style because they're fighting in October, and it's August now.
Yeah, he's got Tyson Fury's got a plethora of knowledge there.
He's the best ever.
Yes.
As far as heavyweights,
but you know what?
It's hard to imagine, other than Mike Tyson in his prime, anybody beating that guy.
Yeah,
Tyson Fury's so good. He's so good. He's mad at me. He's
He
mad
is?
at me because I said John Jones would fuck him up.
But in an MMA fight, he would. That's not being mean.
Yeah, but it's just the way I said it. I dragged him into this who's the baddest man on the planet thing, which I didn't mean to do. I love the guy.
Yeah, but
it was
he's
just
probably being
I was talking a
dramatic.
little loose.
He's being dramatic.
I was
he's a
with
fighter.
Schultz. I think we probably had a couple of cocktails. I was talking a little loose. He got very mad at me.
He did?
I love
For
the
real?
guy.
Got
Yeah,
mad?
yeah, yeah.
Did he
got mad.
text you or
No,
talk to you?
no. He just talked shit about me. Made a video. I love the guy. I really do.
there's nothing
but
not
it's
to
just
love, but-
the difference. Look, if he learned MMA, that guy's a warrior. If someone taught him when he was young how to wrestle and jiu-jitsu and leg kicks, he would fuck everybody up
I know,
as an MMA fighter as well.
Sure.
Because that's who he is.
Yeah, but
the
also,
reality of wrestling is just
You're not defending
thing.
against an ankle lock unless you've seen it and drilled it a lot of
It's
times.
not just that. You're not defending against John Jones.
A rear naked choke.
Especially if there's nowhere to go. Like if you're,
Takedowns.
like I said, trapped in a room.
Yeah.
It's like,
But that's not insulting.
he thought it was.
It's a different sport.
Because he's a fucking warrior,
But
man.
it's a
You
different
can't
sport.
say that a guy is a better man than him. That's what it is. A challenge. I could have said it in a much more diplomatic way.
Okay.
I should have said
So
it in a much more
you mean you were
diplomatic
too
way.
honest?
A little bit. Talking shit. That's what it was. It was talking shit. But I do love the guy. And I do think that the thing about Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury is I do not imagine a world where Francis Ngannou can outbox Tyson Fury. I do not think that will ever take place.
No way.
Tyson Fury is a master. His footwork, his jab, his understanding of what to do. You ever see that fight with Otto Wild where he's on the ropes and just bobbing and weaving and slipping
he
punches?
can see what you're doing. He's going to put Francis Ngannou. So one of the great things about watching Bud Crawford with Errol Spence is,
Oh my goodness.
Bud Crawford was able to put his feet in a place where Errol Spence had to keep adjusting. That's why it looked as great as Errol Spence looked. You'll never see him look as off balance as he did against a genius like Bud Crawford.
Right.
It's more where he's placing his feet, those little details, those micro adjustments. He's never out of place.
And his accuracy.
But again,
landing
it's
those
because
hooks in tight like that.
where he's punching from.
Yes.
It's where he's punching
Perfect
from.
positioning.
Yes.
Perfect positioning.
That can't be. That has to be. You don't learn that in 4 months.
No. No.
Those are details that are if you're tutored right and you have the kind of brain that someone like Hopkins or Bud Crawford has.
Yeah.
That's for you. But
What I will say though is Francis Ngannou hits like a freight train.
Correct.
He hits like a freight train.
But Dylan White does too, and so does.
I don't think those guys hit as hard as Francis. I mean, I don't know, but Francis is a natural 265.
Yeah.
He has to cut down to make 265. He hits so fucking hard. The question is, will he be able to connect on the greatest heavyweight ever?
Also, when is he going to get tired?
Will he get tired? Will he be inefficient like with Conor and Floyd Mayweather? Floyd Mayweather is so efficient and so smooth and composed,
Relaxed, moving,
always relaxed, and he can box like that for 30 rounds in a row.
They also roll shots. He can just kind of move. He's
look at this. Look at this with Otto Whalen.
Yeah, it's
Watch
incredible.
this.
I know.
Look at this movement.
Look at he knows what's going on too. He just keeps his.
And the length and distance that fucking guy
I know.
has.
Look at him.
His jab
He's
is
so
just
good.
Everything he does is incredible.
Yeah.
And there was this crazy controversy after the Deontay Wilder fight where they were claiming that he didn't have his gloves on correctly and that his knuckles were actually over the padding.
Stop.
But that's just because he's so loose.
Yeah.
When he throws his hands out sometimes, he mixes up between showing you the jab and just popping you and then driving with a power shot.
He just figures out, but he also figures out all your patterns. The other thing about being a boxer at someone like Ngannou's level, a rather novice, and someone like Tyson Fury has patterns. He can see what you're going to do. Francis Ngannou's going to come to him with a game plan. That game plan, with all due respect, for someone like Tyson Fury, is rudimentary. They're going to figure out, I see what you're doing. Ba, ba, ba. It's like with Duran. I can't remember the boxer, but he came back to his corner and goes, he's reading my mind. No, Duran just understands those patterns so well that he was beating you to the punch.
Right.
That's what was happening.
Right.
It's the same idea. Once a fighter does that, and Manny Pacquiao did that to the great Miguel Cotto. He did it by the third round. He figured him out. And you could see, what's his name? Freddie Roach screaming, knock him out. And then Freddie, after that fight, said, I talked to him actually. He said he didn't want to knock him out, didn't want to hurt him, but he could.
Wow.
That's how good.
He's so nice.
Yeah. Right?
For a killer.
How about that?
Manny Pacquiao,
Yes.
so nice.
Didn't want to knock. That's true though, man. When a fighter figures your game out that quickly, we'll see you later. He downloaded everything.
Is
you're
that
gonna
real?
do.
He really didn't want to knock him out?
That's what Freddie Roach said.
Wow. That's crazy.
Because he was like, get him out of here. And he's like, I don't want to be mean.
That's crazy.
You could
That's
see
crazy.
it. You could see he broke his nose, and it was just crazy. But
Manny's talking about fighting again, like a real fight.
well, guys like Manny and guys like nobody talks enough about Bernard Hopkins and what he was able to do up until the age of 50.
Yeah.
I was talking to Masvidal about this. Like, you're talking about a guy in a division where speed and power make a big difference, and he was at 50. He
Yeah.
was still fighting at a level that maybe two other
championship
people.
level.
Crazy.
Yeah. Incredible.
And that's because of his fight IQ.
his fight IQ and his discipline. The guy never got out of shape, never ate bad, never
did push-ups between
Yeah.
rounds.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Yeah,
and he's just one of the all-timers, and just what a guy to emulate. You see his style, like when he beat Tito Trinidad, nobody gave him a chance. He went over to Puerto Rico and threw the Puerto Rican flag on the ground.
I didn't see
They
that.
tried to kill him.
I didn't see
Yeah. Oh, he hyped that fight up in a big way, and he got Tito Trinidad very emotional.
God.
And then he just boxed his face off.
He'll get in your kitchen, man.
Oh,
He'll find you always have a window open in your house, and he'll climb into that fucking window.
Yeah.
And good luck.
He's such a good boxer.
He, apparently, with Kelly Pavlik, who was a killer, he whispered in his ear. He said, "Don't let this ruin you."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember that fight. He was in his 40s.
And Kelly Pavlik was like
Was a
killer.
It was after he knocked out Jermaine Taylor.
Right.
Right?
And Jermaine Taylor's a monster.
Kelly Pavlik was a killer.
Yeah, killer. But just ran into a genius.
He just ran into a genius.
That's okay.
Yeah. Genius boxers, to me, it's the most exciting thing to watch. So when you watch a guy like Terrence Crawford or the guy who's going to fight next, Boots Ennis.
I don't know much about
Oh,
Boots
my
Ennis.
God. He's so
Is
good.
he fighting him at 54?
I think they're talking about doing a rematch with Errol Spence at 54.
Yeah, well,
But, that's a hard sell.
yeah, it is.
The only thought would be that Errol Spence depleted himself so much getting to 154 that he couldn't fight to the best of his abilities. But just looks like Terrence Crawford's on another level.
He is.
I mean, it's undeniable that boxers do get weakened when they lose a lot of weight. It's undeniable. But he had been world champion at 47.
Yeah, I don't
undefeated.
think that was an issue of weakness. I think that was an issue of just
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
You sometimes you are out you're beaten by some. I think Bud Crawford is greatness. He's greatness. He's not just good. He's greatness, and greatness is a different X factor.
What did you think of the Lomachenko Devin Haney fight?
I didn't see enough of it. I saw highlights, and I heard that Lomachenko got the best of him, but I don't know.
It looked to me like he won.
Yeah.
I've watched it twice now. It's just like, God, I could kind of see a world where it's close.
Yeah.
It's close. And the unfortunate aspect, the fact that a lot of people don't agree with the decision, is that it kind of tarnishes an amazing fight. Because the fight was amazing.
Yeah.
Both Devin Haney, his performance, and Lomachenko's performance. It was an incredible fight between two guys in their fucking prime.
God.
It was such a good fight.
Is Lomo in his prime, though?
He still is, man. The way he fought against Devin Haney, he looked fucking
Crazy,
fantastic.
right?
I think he's 36 now.
You know how many fights he's had? Those guys who come up through that Russian system.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Triple G had 350 fights, I think as an amateur or something crazy.
Insane.
Like, are you out of your fucking mind?
Insane.
And
Insane.
Yeah. I mean,
Insane. Lomachenko's got a wild story, too, because his dad made him stop boxing for 2 years to learn Ukrainian dance, rather.
I know, that's so weird.
Yeah, and Ukrainian dance was like the foundation for his footwork.
Isn't he Usyk's coach as well?
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
that's a guy, if you watch that Anthony Joshua fight,
Usyk's insane.
he's just that's so beautiful to watch.
I
that.
know.
Setting traps and, like, I watched some guy break down the stuff that I didn't see, that I didn't know as just somebody who doesn't understand.
How about the sheer volume of strikes that he throws as a heavyweight?
God.
Incredible.
Because he's a natural cruiserweight, too. It's not like he's a big man.
No, he's like 220, I think.
That's so weird.
Yeah, he's not a big heavyweight at all. But you got to realize also that Mike Tyson in his prime was also about 220.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. He's big enough to hurt you.
Usyk was so slick.
I know.
And Anthony Joshua is such a fucking big man.
Well,
such
you're
a
talking
power
about a
puncher.
super athlete.
And he almost took Anthony Joshua out in the first fight.
Yep.
Especially like towards the end of the fight, like he was battering
Look at him.
Joshua.
Just everything's a plan, though. He's doing.
Yeah, he's so slick, man. He rolls with stuff.
Yep.
And he wears you out. And then he starts
Look at that
putting it on you.
hairstyle and that mustache.
No. He's such a unique character.
He is.
He's very, very eccentric.
Just wasn't he a two-time Olympian?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think he won. Right? Look that up, Jamie. I think he was a. It's crazy.
Phenomenal boxer, though. And interesting, right? It's always I was really interested in seeing him and Tyson Fury.
I was too.
That's an amazing
I don't know
fight.
why. I wonder if his camp just doesn't want that. I wonder if his camp is like
Whose camp?
Tyson Fury's camp is like.
Who knows? I think they want the most money possible in the Francis Ngannou fight.
Yeah.
They're doing it in, I think they're doing the UAE. I think they're doing it. I don't know where maybe they're doing it in Dubai.
He won a gold medal. There you
Yeah.
go. I thought it was twice, but I think it was just once.
Outporting Artur Beterbiev. And Beterbiev is the only fighter right now that's a champion that has a 100% knockout rate. He's undefeated. I think he's 19-0 with 19 knockouts. He is a fucking monster. And that was the guy that they were trying to set Canelo up with. Because when Canelo fought Bivol, one of the other names that was on
Yeah.
the table was
Big guy.
Beterbiev. Oh, he's a destroyer. You ever seen this guy fight?
Yeah, Bivol? I
No,
saw the fight.
Beterbiev.
No, I've never seen this guy.
Beterbiev is one of the most impressive guys in boxing.
Is that right?
Yes.
What weight's he fight at?
He's a light heavyweight. He's a light heavyweight champion. He's the guy who
That's-
knocked out Joe Smith Jr., the guy who knocked out Bernard Hopkins.
Oh boy, that's a lot to deal with for Canelo.
Go to
That's a much
Beterbiev's
bigger
highlights.
man.
Go to his highlights.
That's a bigger man than Canelo.
He's a fucking monster,
Too big
dude.
for Canelo.
He's not just big, he's a fucking destroyer. And he's not like an elusive guy like an Usyk.
He's just
he's
straightforward?
Chechnyan. Just a fucking warrior, dude. Just comes at you with insane technique, blood and guts, just smashing
oh
people.
my god. But Canelo
All
wants,
knockouts, dude.
Canelo wants to
There's
fight him.
Joe Smith Jr. No, I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe he wants any of this. I think he wants another Bivol fight, but this is the most terrifying matchup at light heavyweight. He's a fucking animal, dude. And he looks like an animal with that fucking
Yeah.
beard.
Look. There's a reason there are weight classes.
Watch some of these KOs, man. This fucking guy is terrifying. And a 100% knockout ratio.
Good God.
Everybody he fights, and every fight is the same way. Seek and destroy. Come straight at you, hands up high, and break you down.
Yeah.
And he hits like a fucking Mack truck.
Yeah. No thanks.
I mean, he's a fucking tank, dude.
Yeah. Look at that. Ooh.
And he puts together these beautiful combinations. Look how tight that left hook was. Everything's tight. It's these beautiful combinations, but it's just constant pressure.
Yeah. No thanks.
Like, look how he breaks people down.
Just a beast.
And this was the Anthony Yard fight.
This look like 12-ounce gloves.
And
for
Yard's a
God's sake.
monster.
Jesus.
Oh, dude, he's fucking people up, dude.
Ugh.
He's so interesting to watch, too. Because it's just, how long can the person outlast this attack?
Oh Christ.
I mean, how long can the person handle this? I don't think that's Yard.
I think
That's
your
someone
body
else.
just gives in. Oh, covered his. He hit him in the body and it came right to the face.
Yeah, that wasn't Anthony Yard. But this is, I mean, there's a whole series of his fights like this, and they're all the same way.
Oh, God.
He just puts it on guys until they break.
Yeah. No thanks.
He's incredible. Yeah.
Who would be a competitive fight for him?
Bivol. Bivol and him would be a
Bivol
great
was
unification
Bivol looked
fight.
like a bigger Canelo, like very similar style to me, like really, really similar, like to Canelo when they
Well,
fought. I was like, that's just a
big
bigger
and-
Canelo.
Big and long
Oh, yeah.
and a real light heavyweight. No
Fundamentals
chance
are perfect.
ever of being 154.
No.
He's a real 175-pound
Yeah.
guy. I mean, like, props to Canelo for wanting to challenge himself like that, because
Oh,
it's
he's
kind of
amazing.
wild.
He's
It's kind of
greatness.
wild that he goes up and knocks out Kovalev.
That's
I mean,
and
as a light
Kovalev
heavyweight,
is huge.
huge.
Yeah.
And when you go, I mean, Kovalev was like later in his career then, but if you go back and watch his fight, like his first fight
Oh my God.
with Andre Ward
Yeah.
and all the other guys that he knocked out, I mean, Kovalev, when he was the Crusher, he's a beast.
Andre Ward was another guy who could just download what you were doing. Did it with
yeah.
Kovalev twice.
And by the way, fought most of his career with one arm.
What do you mean?
He had a fucked up shoulder most of his career.
Is that true?
Yeah, he had an operation before the second Kovalev fight. Wow. Yeah, he beat all those guys. All the middleweight tournament that he went through, the Carl Froch, all those guys. He beat all those guys with one shoulder.
You know who came out of that camp? You know who boxed in Oakland with in Andre Ward's camp for a long time was the Diaz brothers.
Really? Oh, that's right. They did a lot of sparring with him.
Yeah.
What do you think about that Jake Paul thing?
Well,
this
that's why
weekend?
I was bringing it up.
We're going to have that too. So we're going to do Fight Companion. We'll have the UFC, and we're going to pause that when it starts.
I'm going to be on
So you can watch
stage.
both. Yeah, you're not going to be there for that.
I know, but
Uh-huh.
when are you going to start it? Because I'll be.
Whenever the fights start. What time do the fights
I got
start?
2 shows.
8 p.m.?
Cap Cities, everybody.
Oh,
if
they
you're
start at
listening.
8? The main card starts at 8? You're going to miss everything.
I am, right?
Yeah. you're gonna
We'll
miss
have
it all.
dinner beforehand.
Okay, we'll have dinner.
Yeah.
So it'll just be space isn't real. Whether or not I should.
Listen, I do Conspiracy Social Club with Sam Tripoli, and we have.
Sometimes he gets you, though. That's what's amazing.
It's the best.
What's amazing is when things you don't believe are true turn out to
I
be
know.
true. Because that's the thing. Like, hanging out with Sam Tripoli enough, you will eventually realize that there are conspiracies. And
There are
there's a lot
conspiracies.
more of them than anybody wants to admit to.
Yep. Sam is a lot of times I find myself texting him going, Sam, you were right. Damn it.
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
Isn't it crazy?
I know. He is. We have these it's like WWE on that show. We just,
Well, he goes so deep into those goddamn things. He knows
yeah.
so many of them. And he
Yeah, but-
starts bringing them up, and you're like, what?
but then we get into like nuclear bombs aren't real and there are no
yeah. How
satellites.
is that one catching? How is that?
I don't know.
How is it? Does anybody see that one they dropped in the ocean where you literally see the fucking this several mile high plume of water that comes out?
I mean, look.
Probably wasn't several miles.
Usually
high,
the
but it
people
was-
that are saying there are no nuclear, with all due respect, are saying there are no nuclear weapons. They usually don't have an advanced degree in nuclear physics. I know they've studied some nuclear physics, but they don't have an advanced degree. That's all I'm trying to say. It's
I get
it's
it.
like Jeff Dye has a great joke. He's like, why does everybody who talk about cryptocurrency, or why does everybody who tries to sell me on cryptocurrency have 3 roommates in their 30s? Fucking great joke. It's like, amen. So
Yeah, that's a good
some
joke.
of this stuff is. There's that great quote. He knows enough. This applies to me. It applies to all of us. We have to be careful. You know enough to think you're right, not enough to know you're wrong. And
Yeah.
That's an important thing, especially as you're inundated with all this information all the time.
Find that nuclear bomb detonated in the ocean around the battleships. Because I remember they did this. They had an idea of how big the explosion was going to be. And so they positioned these ships. So, like, how far can the ship be to where the bomb goes off?
Whoa.
And they were way off.
Really?
Way off.
Jesus.
Yeah, wait till you see what this looks like.
Well, did you see that?
You've never seen this video?
No. Did
It's
you see
amazing.
in Lebanon? Remember that explosion?
Yes,
Okay.
in
Did you ever
Beirut,
see
yeah.
that? I think it was it was a jet ski, and he was videotaping.
So watch
it.
this.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
No, wait till it pans out and you see how high it goes.
Are you? Did they detonated that underwater?
Yeah.
I wonder how many fish that killed.
Everyone. All the fish.
Are you kidding? That
They
were
probably
just
killed fish for a mile around. it.
100%.
That's not the best view of it. There's a view of it from the shore. There's another one. And maybe
that's
it was
all water? What is
different
that? That's
test.
crazy.
That's water. Yeah, the nuclear bomb shot the water like I don't know how high in the air.
Oh my God.
There's another one that's the
That's
one. This one's wild. I love this one. Watch this one. because they detonate. Oh, so they detonate this one. Look at this.
Oh my God.
Watch how high it goes. It just keeps going.
Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this, dude. How insane is that? Imagine seeing that.
Oh my God.
Look how high that fucking cloud is.
That's so insane.
And there's different angles of it where it's like a zoomed back angle where you can see the whole thing.
I've
from
never seen
one.
that, man.
Fucking incredible.
Now that's an atomic bomb, not a thermonuclear bomb.
Exactly.
Apparently
So
there's a difference.
Yeah, they're more powerful.
Yes, that is correct, sir.
So, like, the bombs that they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the ones that they have now are so many times more powerful.
Well, I told you, I have dinner with Eric Weinstein, and he comes in, and he's all down. I'm like, what's up? He goes, oh, well, I think we have 30 years left. I'm like, here we go. He's very dramatic, and he's like, we're going to miniaturize thermonuclear weapons, and with CRISPR-Cas9, we're going to be able to take viruses and manipulate them. And I was like, you have a point there. You have a point.
God.
Get to work. Hey, you, get a lab and get to work.
Did
Solve
you see
these problems.
that lab they found, the Chinese-operated lab that was in Los Angeles, or in the L.A. area?
No.
Yeah, they found some lab with mice that were in horrible conditions, that there was something about them being infected with COVID-19, or they had... See what the article is. But it was like a bio-research lab that was in some abandoned warehouse somewhere. So
Well, that's not
California
good.
officials closed down bootleg Chinese lab, brimming with infectious agents such as COVID and HIV. In addition to pathogens, investigators found hundreds of chemicals, 1,000 mice, many of them dead, and bootleg COVID and pregnancy tests, apparently developed on site.
Well, that's not good, man.
So they were experimenting with rats and mice to develop COVID tests
Holy
in a
shit.
fucking warehouse somewhere with HIV.
Oh, so
and
they were trying to come up with tests.
who knows what they were doing? Who fucking knows? But the rats, or the mice rather, most of them were dead already. So
Did
they're
you see
just
where they put into ChatGPT come up with chemical weapons, and it came up with 40,000 different variants of a chemical weapon? Do you see this? Yeah.
That's not good.
No. There's a lot to worry about.
Yeah, Eric Weinstein scares the shit out of me with all that we have 30 years left talk.
What do you think of this UFO shit? I don't think any of it's true.
I feel like I'm being lied to.
Me too.
And here's the thing. I wonder if that's because disclosure, I imagine in my head that it would be this grand moment and the clouds would part and we would figure out that we're not alone in the universe. And maybe this reality of what they're disclosing, that they have recovered alien spacecrafts, that they have biological creatures from another planet that they have frozen or from another dimension, they are in possession of both craft and biologics. They know that aliens are real. Maybe it's just that is so strange and so alien that my mind is not registering it as a possibility, even though it can be a possibility. If you just look at the stars in the sky and look at, what we know about biology on Earth, it's totally possible that this, in this infinite universe, has occurred other places and gotten to a much more advanced stage.
I love that they were able to cross galaxies and then they couldn't land.
No, that's not the thing. It's like the thing is, even if you have like the most advanced spaceships, like think about cars. They're so much more advanced than they've ever been before. Thousands of people still die every year in
Right.
car accidents.
Yeah.
If you have electrical storms, and the very famous case in Varginha, Brazil, which James Fox did this documentary called The Moment of Contact. It's amazing. It's about this town in 1996 in Brazil that experienced just universal sightings. Everyone in the town saw these flying saucers and saw that there was this giant lightning storm and something appeared to have crashed. And these people went to the side of this crash site, and they said that there was biological entities. One of them was badly injured. This guy carried it. This police officer carried it. He put it in the back of a car. They took it to a hospital. They kicked him out, took it to another hospital. The guy who carried it developed a horrible bacterial infection that they could not cure, and he was dead within 2 weeks. They didn't know what it was. There's documentation of them bringing this thing to these different hospitals. There's documentation of this guy dying of this horrible bacterial infection. There's all these eyewitnesses. The town, when you enter into the town, has an actual statue of this fucking UFO that like is in the center, like as you're entering into the town. Like they're famous for this
Wow.
incident.
Wow.
They said the U.S. Air Force sent a plane down there to recover the wreckage and return it back to America. This guy, David Grush, who's the whistleblower, has exposed that they supposedly have a retrieval program for crashed UFOs, and that it's happened multiple times over the course of human history. This was what Bob Lazar was talking about in 1989.
Why keep it a secret? Like, I don't understand.
Well, I think they don't want to anymore. And I think there's part of it that it's like it's not beneficial to keep it a secret. And that too many people who feel like this is an important thing that the world should be aware of, and that maybe this could actually be a uniting moment for us if we realize that Space Daddy is really like watching everything we do, and like there are something that's here, whether it's interdimensional, whether it's from another planet.
That would be very unifying.
Very unifying.
You know, but I don't believe it. But I appreciate it.
What do you think is going on then? Why do you think they're having these?
I think it's impossible to keep a secret, especially a secret of that magnitude. There's no way.
Well, they're not keeping it. That's one of the things. It's
but
getting out.
They have since the 30s, according to these whistleblowers.
But have they? Because look, Bob Lazar talked about this very program exactly in 1989. Exactly.
But was he talking about a drone program? And do we have technologies that we are not aware of that can do things that make no sense?
Perhaps.
It's kind of like the Manhattan Project, right? We might have some technological breakthroughs that we are not sharing with other countries, and that may be the case. So the U.S. military may have game-changing technologies.
Oh yeah, that's certainly possible. And a lot of people think that's
more plausible to me.
A lot of people think that's what that Tic Tac incident is off the coast of San Diego in 2004. It's a famous one where Commander David Fravor, they have multiple instrumentation, the documentation of like where this thing was, and it was at 50,000 plus feet above sea level, and it went down to 50 in less than a second. It took off at insane rates of speed.
That's crazy.
They have multiple pilots.
That was 2004?
Yes. Multiple jets, more than one jet that had visual contact with this thing. They have video of this thing taking off. They estimated that at the speed that it took off, there was some sort of like analysis of what it would do to a biological entity. And like it would turn you into jelly. It would just, the amount of force required to go that fast, that quick. It was something like, I forget what the G-force was, but it was something insane. Some insane number of G-force that it was taken off that fast. Like, there's no way a biological entity would survive.
Right.
But the question is, like, why would we assume that it's a biological entity? It doesn't have any windows. It's this round thing that looks like a Tic Tac. If there is some sort of advanced propulsion system, some revolutionary way of moving through space and time that the U.S. government has developed, you know, in some black ops program, that seems very likely impossible. That seems more likely than aliens visiting us. But there's more than one incident, and there's a lot of these things. And the possibility of alien life in the universe, although we've never experienced it, seems rational. It seems very rational. And if you were going to study an emerging civilization that is both primitive and warlike and yet insanely technologically advanced to the point where they have nuclear weapons, they can transmit video through the sky, they have propaganda, they have tracking of their citizens. Like, that's us. That's us right now. And while we are these territorial, primal beings with fucking nuclear weapons, this would be a good time to start exposing yourself.
Yes.
And to stop this nonsense.
Insanity.
Yeah, and look, the reason why we named the rooms at our club Fat Man and Little Boy is because in UFO lore, that's when they started showing up. After the detonation of the atomic bombs in Japan, that's when the UFO sightings ramped up.
And they ramped up mostly in the U.S., right?
Yes.
So that's interesting because the U.S. was the nuclear power. So.
And we were the one who was doing a lot of fucking testing.
Yeah.
You know, and also we have all these military bases. Who the fuck has more military bases than us?
No one.
Who has more nuclear weapons pointed at other people than us? We have them all over the place. And there's all these multiple sightings and eyewitness accounts of like very credible people who say these things have hovered over military bases.
It'd be pretty cool if these aliens were benevolent overlords. And they were like, hey, my children.
Yeah.
You know?
Or maybe even so advanced intellectually that the concept of an overlord is preposterous. And they're just biological management. They're gardeners tending to make sure the weeds don't get out of hand and just like let this process continue to play itself out. Because this process of technological innovation it's the everything that humans do.
Yeah.
It's what we do at the pinnacle of our creation is we make better technology.
Well, I always wonder about fractals and whether or not, like, this idea of this being a simulation, this being, like we are kind of replicating, we are creating machines and doing our best to create them in our own image, right?
Yes.
And that's interesting. That's because the mythologies that we subscribe to are the idea that this God that we pray to made us in his image.
Right.
And we're doing the same thing now with robots and computers. And that's an interesting thing that we seem to have this sort of paradigm, this idea that that's the scaffolding for the way we think, right? And to what end? And why are we doing that?
Maybe it's the
and has
creation
it
of a
already
new life
happened?
form.
But has it already happened? Are we the result of that impulse that happened a long time ago?
I think we
don't
are
know.
the shit-throwing chimps that are going to become the nuclear physicists.
That's what
we are the shit-throwing chimps from 2001 that
Yeah.
become Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think this thing that we become is integrated with technology. It's probably some sort of a hybrid. It's some sort of a cyborg.
That's wild.
Because I think we're already like on the verge of merging. All this talk of like Neuralink and all these various things. We watched this video the other day of this guy who was Googling questions and getting answers in his head with his headpiece on. Have you seen that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Incredible. Right? So how long before that is like that's Pong?
I know. But that's
And then you have the Unreal 4 engine in 2023 that looks like a movie.
No.
Like how long before that technology gets to the point where it's just supremely advanced and we literally are like gods.
But my question really is also the idea that that's engineering, right? That's a tool.
It's innovation.
But there's engineering. So there are two aspects to it. One is getting information faster and stuff, which doesn't get you closer to truth, but it gets you information faster. There are endless facts. But more importantly, I always wonder, like, why we are given this. I really believe that human potential is pretty much infinite. Whatever you can imagine and beyond, we can do. And we are doing. We seem to be doing this. Like, think about how crazy that is. I can wear a headset and I can do things with my mind and look up the answer.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's magic. It's crazier than magic. But there's a way to measure that and quantify that and replicate that. So it's not magic. I can do it and I can tell you exactly how I get there, which is even crazier. So what is that leading us to? It is nudging us closer. It's like I think it's very significant that we're getting a better understanding of what it's like to be someone else.
Yeah.
We are. It's really hard to say that a Yanomamo Indian or whoever it might be thinks about things differently than I do when I know so much about how all these human beings, like someone in Iran, someone in Jordan, laughs and cries and bleeds at the same thing I do. It's being prejudiced based on what that person looks like over there is becoming harder and harder to justify. Where it was before we knew about that, we were like, well, those people over there are quote unquote savages, or they're this, that, and the other thing. And I do think that we are getting a better understanding of what it's like to be each other and being nudged in the same direction. I'm not saying we don't become tribal.
I think that's true too.
But why? And it's interesting to think about where that's leading us to what understanding, and then when we have that understanding, what are we going to do about that?
Right, and are we going to pull it together? And are the aliens here to make sure that we don't fuck it up?
Yeah.
That's the beautiful idea. The terrible idea is that it's all us. And then it's all a big ruse, and it's all just drones that we're doing because we don't want China and Russia to know about it. But we have insane propulsion systems that operate on gravity. And
yeah, I think it is us. I hate to tell you.
It seems like both. It seems like us, and it also seems like there's some shit that we just don't understand. And I don't know if those people are telling the truth. Because if the people that are telling the truth that there's biological entities, and this is what Jackie Gleason said that Nixon told him, and Nixon took him on they were drinking. You know that famous story?
No.
Who knows if it's true? It's a legend. But the legend is that Jackie Gleason and Nixon were drinking, and that Nixon said, "You want to see some fucking aliens?" And they get on Air Force One, and they fly to some Air Force base, and they go to a place where they have a crashed UFO, and they have biological beings that are in freezers. And Jackie Gleason sees this. And Jackie Gleason, after that, has a house built in upstate New York that looks like a UFO. He became obsessed with UFOs after that. There was a house, it was actually for sale at one point in time. Yeah, so he has this house that he had shaped like a UFO. And this is like, who knows if this is a true story?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, it was kind of sort of disputed. His ex-wife told the story or something like that. I forget.
I think that kind of thing is actually impossible to keep secret.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
No, I don't
you
think so at all.
generational, like
Yeah.
generations of government bureaucrats can keep something a secret?
Sure,
I don't
they
think so.
tell the people at the very highest level know about it. It's very few people. It's all very compartmentalized.
they're always-
They monitor everyone's phone calls, everyone's emails, everything everyone
Impossible.
does.
Impossible.
At a top secret clearance level,
No way. Impossible.
I don't think you're right.
Totally
You're
impossible.
definitely not right.
I think it's impossible.
Listen, man, they can keep secrets.
When?
People
Which
at high
ones?
levels of military can keep secrets.
Yeah, but they're
People
always
that-
rotating out. They're retiring. They're dying.
Yeah, and they probably wind up fucking Hillary Clinton and a lot of those dudes.
Hey, listen, dude. This is not the.
That's a
this is not
verb.
Conspiracy Social Club. This
Might
is
as
the
well
Joe
be.
Rogan experience.
I am not willing to relinquish the idea that they could keep that secret.
Well, that's 'cause it's
I think
fun to
it's-
believe in.
Yeah, but it's not just fun to believe in. It is possible. It's a physically possible thing to do, especially if you have the right people and they're indoctrinated in the right way with top secret clearance. And by the way, it's not like these people don't tell their friends. And it's not like there's a bunch of stories floating around, because there
Right.
are. There's a shitload of stories
That's what I'm
floating
saying.
around.
But why would you, like, I would never keep that a secret. I'd be like,
Well,
hey, you got
but here's
fucking
the thing.
aliens.
Here's the thing. When you have senators and congressmen who find out about this, and they find out that military contractors are the ones who have access to this stuff, because the back engineering program has to involve someone who has the capability of recreating this. So who would that be? That would be the people that make jets. If you got someone who's making you a fucking a stealth bomber, and you have a crashed UFO, those are the people that you want discussing like what kind of things you've recovered from a fucking alien crash, and can this be replicated?
No, here's the problem with your
I mean,
whole
don't
theory.
you know me, motherfucker? Because
Listen,
you don't
man,
know. You might be
this
wrong.
Is you're wrong. No.
No.
This is
Don't say you're wrong,
this is
because
the
you don't
problem.
know that
This
I'm
is the
wrong.
problem with your theory. Ready?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, and I love that you want to believe in this, and so do I, but here's the problem.
Okay.
There's no law. There's no written law that says I'm not allowed to talk about aliens. And I mean at the top levels of clearance, like the most secret level. There is no world where if I'm a government official and I take a bunch of pictures and I come before Congress and I go, here's my evidence, I'm blowing the whistle, there are real aliens.
You don't think they would go after you for
I'd never go to jail.
violating your top secret clearance?
No, because it's not violating my top secret clearance.
But it would
because,
be.
Nope.
I don't
Because
think you're
I'd
right.
never go to jail for that. Because I'd be like, you're going to put me in jail for exposing what everybody wants to know? The whole world would be like, holy shit, you guys kept
But
this a
that's
secret?
assuming that you have access to that material to extract
There are enough
it
people who
from
would.
wherever maybe not. Maybe those are the kind of people that wouldn't do that, Brian.
Listen,
You
my
fucking
friend.
communist. I don't like the way you think.
I'm shredding your UFO
No,
theories.
you're not.
Listen,
You think you are, but
you-
you're just using these establishment
you're allowed to
talking
talk
points.
about
You
UFOs
sound
and you
like
never
your
get in
dad.
trouble.
You sound like your dad.
Come on, man. First
You're
tell me
a
Andy
CIA
Schultz will beat me up.
stooge. You're a CIA
I'll call my dad
stooge,
right now.
And you're in here spreading propaganda to the faithful listeners.
Listen to
of
me.
this
Listen to me. There are no aliens, and if there are, we'd know about it because it's
If
not
there is, you're
against
going to
the
come
law.
back on dressed like a clown. Agreed?
Agreed.
That's my bets I'm making with everybody now.
I'll dress
They
up
lose,
like
you
a
gotta dress
clown.
like a clown.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll be ready.
Beautiful.
You gonna come open for me at Cap Cities tonight?
I can't. I have 2 shows of my own.
You do?
But I'm excited to see your shows. You're there this weekend.
I'm at
Friday
Cap Cities
and
this
Saturday.
weekend. No, tonight.
Tonight,
I got
Thursday.
Thursday,
but this
Friday,
come out,
Saturday.
This will come out tomorrow, so
Okay.
it'll be Friday.
And then I'm in LOL Comedy Club in San Antonio, August 24, 25, 26. Then Salt Lake City, September 1 and 2 at
Utah.
Wise Guys. Wise Guys, I
the
love that
best,
club.
The best.
There it is,
I
Cap
love that
Cities,
club.
LOL Comedy Club, Wise Guys, and King Center, Saturday, September 23rd.
Melbourne,
Doing a theater.
Australia. My man's going over the big pond.
Melbourne, Florida.
Oh,
Not the same.
I saw Melbourne.
King Center,
Melbourne,
Saturday,
Florida. I was like,
September
that's a quick
23rd.
trip.
Yeah.
How are you doing that?
Bryan Callen, BryanCallen.com for my tickets.
All right. I love you, brother.
I love you too, pal. What
Thanks
a
for
great
doing
time.
this.
It's
Lots
been
of
a
fun.
while, buddy.
All right. Bye, everybody.